the sauce. I'm soaked in it.
Oh, I could lick you all day long.
As I suspected, 32 flavors.
But I pity the fool.
Hello, everybody. How are you all doing tonight? Oh, it is late, and we apologize for being late. That was all me, so it's been crazy busy. A lot of stuff going on at the home, but everything's gonna be okay. Thank you guys for your flexibility here. Okay, it is the 71st episode of Toxic Tuesday, and I thank you all for waiting patiently. I saw a few newer faces in the chat here. I'll get those welcomes going so we could get to the point. Mr. Flux Capacitor Darth Viewer, how are you? Says this movie is awesome. Looking forward to review. Well, I'm coming at it from a bit of a normie perspective, very casual. I've never actually watched this until now. It's kind of like when I did Spaceballs with the boys many months ago. So we get to have that fun. And hello, Picasso, Yicknam, and D. Bud Martin, Max Mercer, Eric K, Gutsy77, Vince Woolmark, Daz Wolfen, Phantom Outsider, Equate the Mussin, Yolanda Gaines, how's it going? Guy Leach Chow, hello. TZ Burton, Poe Baby 74, Soul Assassin, hello guys. Thank you for being here and being here early and right away, even though you're not really early because I'm the one who's late. So we're all just starting late. But thank you guys for being here and welcome to the 71st edition of this show. So we'll get some announcements out right away. Obviously, the big 75. What's up, Stephen M. Kellel? February 21st is the big 75. So that will be the final countdown, Final countdown to the big 100. And with episode 75 on Tuesday, February 21st is Wayne's World Toxic Tuesday. So I feel like this big 75 should definitely deserves its heads up in advance. That's why we're talking about so far in. So, and it's still over a month away, still a ways away, but it's something that people should know about. So, with that said, Gary has got some stuff going on, so he will not be able to come back. He will be missed, backdoor and all, and hopefully everything is good on the side of the Gary World of Pop Culture Minefield. But with that all said, we've got our regulars here, and we're gonna have fun tonight. And we even got a little bit of a contrarian. Remember, guys, we did the whole Point Break, and there was like the Mad Mardigan contrarian. Well, tonight we're gonna have a little bit of that with Fire and Ice. It won't be from me. I'll just give you guys a heads up there, a little spoiler alert. It won't be from me, but it's gonna happen. So let's bring in our panelists. We'll start off with the engineer, the man who keeps it all going, Mark D with a C.
Hey, welcome. Hail to everyone. Yep. So, so interesting movie, and I might be a contrarian on this one too. I didn't overwhelm me. All the Frazetta's artwork is amazing, but we'll get into it with the panel. But we'll get rolling quick. I know everyone was, but we don't want to come early either, right? So we were fashionably late. So it's good to see
that was good.
Toxic Tuesday, and looking to hang out with the guys and. Maybe we'll have some special well, there wasn't too much madness. Everything unfortunately was very covered up. I was hoping this was Rosetta film. I was hoping that Handy Randy might have to make some handy appearances, but maybe I'll add some in for fun during the show. But Frazetta is one of the all-time great artists, so but we'll get into this movie. Yep.
Oh, yes, we will. No, hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for once again for all that you do. And yeah, it's gonna be an interesting discussion because I've learned that when I did my digging into it, this does have I guess you could say a little bit of a cult following.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so clearly there's something that flew under my radar. And I learned that Andre from Midnight's Edge was huge into it as well, which I didn't know as well. So yeah, there's clearly there is a following for this. It's kind of like kind of like when we did episodes on like Midnight Run or Black Rain, things that aren't too well known, but they have a following. And
Big
I know
fan. Yeah, cult flick. Yep.
we weren't too contrarian on those movies, but we definitely noticed like there was definitely some things that are like, oh, okay, this didn't work, but this did work. And yeah, anyways, let's bring in our other guys here. And hey, what's up, Billy Go Boom and Deleted Scenes? Nice to see you guys in here. All right, let's bring in the red shirt, the mod, the man who is not just another red shirt, but he goes by just another red shirt.
He's the best red shirt.
He is our red shirt.
Hey guys, this has been a roller coaster ride, and we'll talk about it. I'm not gonna give it away early. I'm just gonna say that I came into this with very high expectations, knowing this was Ralph Bakshi. It was rotoscoped. I'm like, okay, animation ought to be really interesting. And Frank Frazetta is my favorite fantasy artist. I was a fan of Conan. I love Frazetta's paintings. So coming into this, I had really high expectations, which maybe was my downfall. But we'll talk about it.
All right. No, glad to have you here. We have a great discussion around this, regardless of how it all turns out. What's up, J-Man? I see you there. Long time no see.
Hey,
and
J-Man.
of course, and then there's Mr. Dustin, live and well here. How are you?
Well is an understatement, but it just won't go away. But yeah, this is the first time watching the movie. I watched it last night for the first time, and I watched it again today just to kind of have more to talk about, if you will.
Absorb it in, yes.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to just kind of glaze over a little bit when you're watching it.
Oh yes, absolutely is. No, I'm looking forward to the discussion. I think we're gonna have a nice discussion because, as I mentioned to Marco, there's clearly a cult following around this, and now we get to have the perspectives of guys who came into this from a very normie mindset, aka the panel, versus people who are obviously very nostalgic for this. So this is going to be a clashing of two worlds here with this stream, which I don't think we've ever really had before. So this is going to be a nice first and a nice big change of pace for the Toxic Tuesday vibe here. So let's get this show rolling. Hey, Dave Serta, Angry Gamer, I see you guys. Thank you for being here and dropping in. So yeah, I had heard about this movie for a while, and I had never really looked into it. And then I finally looked at some art. I'm like, okay, I recognize that style, as Redshirt said. Obviously, it's got that Frank Frazetta look there. And I remember looking into the writers, and I recognized two very prominent names. One of them was Roy Thomas, obviously one of the most prominent figures in the early days of Marvel Comics. Very prominent figure. Roy Thomas is a name who's been not just attached to a few projects, but also had, management leadership positions as well, editorial stuff like that. And you have Jerry Conway, who obviously had a great run on Spider-Man. Obviously, as crazy as he is nowadays, was also very notable for creating the Punisher. And obviously he has done something like this, which credit where it's due. And also it made me think very differently about stuff that I have seen that's come out like after this that I saw first. Like the leadoff example, Primal, Gendy Tartakovsky. Obviously we all know him from Samurai Jack. And with Samurai Jack, that was the martial arts. And then Primal, I could see where Primal may have had some influence in this with the barbaric worlds and the color schemes. Now, obviously, there's different animation styles, but the color schemes are very similar. And watching Fire and Ice, I'm like, oh, okay. Gendy had to have been a fan of Fire and Ice. He had to have been like either that or it's just one big fat coincidence. But watching it, I was like, okay, I could definitely see that. And I my girlfriend mentioned like, oh, it kind of reminded the what's it again, Larn? What a name, Larn. I was like, he's kind of like a He-Man. I'm like, well, I think this movie came out right before He-Man, actually, before that was even thing, because that started up because that was pushed made to push a toy line of toys, and the show was basically their way of pushing that out. But I can see why if someone had never seen this movie and knew He-Man, they would assume that. I get it, but right out there, I'm like, okay, we love heavy metal. I could see a little bit of the animation style, like not in terms of like the cyber world of heavy metal, but the colors are all like really goofy looking. There are some parts where it looks like it's like they're living in like a painting, which I actually kind of like.
Remember in heavy metal with the character from Earth that gets transported to another planet, voiced by John Candy, and there's this effete prince and his sister who are fighting over the orb on a scepter. That was what this reminded me of. That character was like, this guy was patterned. One of those was patterned after the other one. The Ice Prince.
I agree. Yeah, I
name
got
was
that
Necron.
vibe. Yep, I got that vibe.
Yeah, I was like, I'm getting such a vibe from that heavy metal vignette from this guy. It was funny, but yeah, I agree with you. There's definite correlations between the two.
Yeah, heavy metal. Obviously, they liked heavy metal, and this movie was obviously very influential for things that came afterwards. And I now see the prominent influence. Now, obviously, this was obviously meant to be something that was meant definitely for what's that term called? The male gaze. When you had a character like Tigra, that was obvious. I was like, oh, it's gonna be one of those movies. Okay, I see it. And I actually liked how a lot of the worlds that they were walking around, it looked like they were living like a pink, because it felt like I was looking at a bunch of like comic book splashes and heavy metal art. Like it made me think of, and Dustin might catch my drift on some of this. Some of it reminded me of like some High on Fire art. Some of it reminded me of anything that had like almost like even some of the early like
Like the Gates of Slumber.
Yeah, Gates of Slumber. Like I could see a lot of doom metal cover looks to this too, because a lot of them have like these really colorful old painting covers. You took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you, by the way.
Like Man of War.
Yes, Man of War 2. And I'm just like, okay, I could see it now. Whoa.
Is that flickering for you guys too? Or?
It was flicking for me too.
Yeah, I don't know why I was doing that. I just had to redo my computer, so fair warning if I click out, it's because of my computer somehow. But I don't know why I was doing that. Sorry.
I thought it was my bandwidth.
Yeah, and I just got fiber installed in my house too, so
dude, it's great.
Maybe that was Necron. It is great. Yeah, I was uploading something for work, and it took like 2 seconds. It was like, wow, it didn't take a half hour.
No,
Red
Shirt. And I want to ask you, because you mentioned Bakshi. What are you familiar with him for?
I've seen Fritz the Cat, and I've seen his Lord of the Rings. And his Lord of the Rings was also a rotoscoped film. And it's part of the reason he never got his sequel to finish the story. But some of the characters in Lord of the Rings were eerily accurate in terms of movement, because obviously it was an actor being filmed and then a character being drawn over the actor. And Bakshi, when he did rotoscoping, which he did here and he did in Lord of the Rings, was usually amazingly good at it. And I'll get to my issues with the rotoscoping in this, but as somebody said, Bakshi was also a very weird guy. I mean, Fritz the Cat is a very weird movie. It's very 1960s. It's full of stereotypes. I also love Frank Frazetta, so I was like, oh, okay, Frazetta is going to be producing this, but is he going to be drawing anything or painting anything for this? And it seems pretty obvious that he had an influence on the art in this movie. So I have seen stuff from both of these guys before. This is the first time I've seen this movie. Yet, just like Mark, last night and today, and it immediately struck a chord. Like these pictures right here, these drawings right at the beginning. are very, very much like Frazetta's paintings. It's
Well,
very
these
much
are
his art style.
gorgeous to
So
look at. I love
they are.
how
Artwork's
these
great.
look. This is fantastic, and that's why for me, I really liked what I was seeing here to start. But go on.
And this is what had me all excited. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome because this looks like a Frank Frazetta painting that's been animated by a guy who's really good at rotoscoping. We'll get to that.
And maybe we should explain what
Rotoscoping
is.
rotoscoping is a technique where live actors are filmed, in this case I believe in black and white, and then the frame is printed, blown up into a character cell for an animation, and the character of the person they want or the creature is inked and painted over the live action actor, so that where the actor moves, the character moves. So
Yes.
everywhere the arm moves or the leg moves or the head moves, the character is drawn over that in the same orientation. And it's a painstaking process, and it costs a fortune because essentially you make two movies. First you film a live action movie, and then you make a cartoon out of it. So it's
So Fleischer
rarely used for
Did it too. Yeah.
yeah. It's rarely used for full movies. Disney's Fantasia used it in one scene for the demon unfolding his bat wings on top of Bald Mountain, and that was all
Which
they
gave
did
me
with it.
nightmares as a 5-year-old for the next 5 years, by the way.
Oh, I bet. Hey, by the way, that was Bela Lugosi that they filmed doing it.
Oh,
Dracula.
Was, yeah. No wonder it was so scary. Yeah, so this must be, I think that's from Fantasia, what you just mentioned, that, the rotos. I'm not gonna, can't play the video, obviously. But there was a picture here towards the bottom.
Came through because I'm getting buffered.
There's Rocket.
Bryce,
Here's a picture here.
Right.
just to
You're
show.
a tracer. I'm an inker.
they said Scanner Darker was fully rotoscoped. And welcome to Toxic Tuesday,
Hey, brightest
Jay
day.
Forte. I've never seen you here, but welcome. And shout out to Comic Relief Crusader and Sci-Fi for Me, Zax Desicato. Welcome, and Mr. Angel and the lovely Sherry. Thank you all for being here. But what did you say, Mark?
Well, yeah, that was a picture there, and then as Brightest Day is mentioned, there's Canoe, as I joke, Canoe Reeves. He's a great actor, love him. But and Scanner Darkly was totally rotoscoped. So it's I wouldn't say it's a cheat, but it's a way to get that animation done. It's expensive, like Richard was saying, because you got to film two different movies. So it's but you're kind of
very. What you get with rotoscoping usually is very fluid, natural motion. That's the thing that strikes you the most watching a rotoscoped cartoon, is that if somebody is running or dancing in particular, it looks really good. Now, it's possible to freehand draw dancing, and I could name cartoons from Warner Brothers where they did it beautifully, but it's a lot harder, and it takes a great deal of talent from the animator to be able to do it and make it look believable. Whereas in rotoscoping, the movements are already there. You just trace them.
Yeah, so it does look a lot more natural.
You just have to.
Yeah, great point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It looks very natural. It's just you have to trace an unbelievable number of frames to make a feature length film at 25 to 30 some odd frames per second, which is what this is.
Oh, I love the
you don't
Superman
get that hurt
style of this. I love the Superman style. Like I can understand why the motions might be weird for people to look at, and I'm watching on my nice TV. It was kind of weird at first, but once I was in on the movement of it.
And those are in the public domain now too, the Fleischer Superman cartoons. But yeah, you don't get the herky jerky, Scooby Doo, which I love. Cartoon janky movement. Use the Scooby Doo term because it's all janky.
Well, that's what they
Janky
did that
movement.
run. They ran like this.
Because the motion is, you're following that template. And another thing, this is good for any kind of gays in this movie. You got a lot of men in thongs or loincloths.
Oh,
and you
dude,
got
this
the most
movie's made for Mad Morgan. I'll bet you Mad Morgan loves this.
probably, yeah, because
He's
they're in
probably
the cold
over the moon about this because all the dudes are
moon.
these
Good,
dudes.
good. They are mooning the whole movie.
Yeah, they are the moon in this movie. All of them together. It's like a Captain Planet, but with like 800 naked dudes. Like it's just the gathering of naked dudes, and they're just all there to present their back door. And that guy's just like, no back doors.
And it looks like he's pooping on his toilet.
Yeah.
He's having a hard time, man.
And they don't seem to mind the cold weather there, right? I mean,
They really don't.
Tough guys. Yeah, they're in thongs
No,
and
they
loincloths.
Yeah, they've definitely got antifreeze in their veins.
Antifreeze in their face. No, I did take note of that. I'm like, man, these are some badass motherfuckers. They go out to battle. It's cold as shit, and they're practically naked, and they're fighting for someone. Ultimately, if you think about it, and this is a very nice visual, by the way. Just look at that. It looks like we're looking at comic art. It looks like comic art and heavy metal art, like an album cover meshed together, and it's perfect because as I think Soul has mentioned in chat, it's like watching like a power metal cover come to life. Yeah. Heavy metal, doom metal, power metal, those subgenres all fit what's going on with this. But if I had to really sum up this movie, it would be those genres right there. And also backdoor for Matt and Gary. Big backdoor. Huge backdoor.
This movie came in right through the front door, okay?
Came right.
It had the garage door. It was like just opened it, came right in.
I noticed right away. Okay, so it's brutal. Okay, cool. I like brutal, and I can see too, like, because there's a lot of like quick moments. Like, yeah, obviously the lady, she's like all weird and shit, and there was one moment. Yeah, I just call it Purple Lady because I only remembered a very select few characters. I remember Larn, Tigra, Dark Wolf. We'll get to Dark Wolf, Necron, Jirol, and Taro. And then all the brown looking dudes with the weird hair, I call them Goros. The Goros. Because remember Goro
the Ice Queen. The Ice Queen there in purple is Juliana.
Ah, Juliana.
Necron's mommy.
Look at those things. They look like Goros, but except with 2 arms instead of 4 arms. They look like Goro. This
scene looked like it was going to go to a whole other place.
Yeah. Oh, a few scenes.
Well, if it had been rated R, it would have.
Why was this PG?
They wanted a larger audience, I suspect.
They didn't get one.
No,
I know.
They didn't. And it bombed. That's another thing too. This movie bombed like no other when it came out, but then obviously time decided otherwise. As far as the acclaim that this movie would have, so I'm trying to think: was there a lack of marketing, or was it just maybe they overspent on the work? So it just the what they wanted in terms of a box office realistic number didn't line up with their budget. Because you did say earlier they were basically filming 2 movies in one. I can imagine that had to have not been cheap, no matter what.
Oh no! This movie probably had an outrageous budget, and it was greenlit because it had Ralph Bakshi, but also because it had Frank Frazetta as producers, and they made it happen. But yeah, I imagine this movie in its day cost an actual fortune to make.
Oh yeah! Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Because I was in the middle of the D&D craze in the 80s, and I don't. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember this movie.
Yeah, I
was a perfect target audience for this. I mean, and of course, there was a lot of competition for movies in '83 too. If you look back, that I'm trying to remember what came out, but '82, '83, '84, there was some classic movies. I got to see what else came out in '83. But I was looking this up, and it only made like 800,000 at the box office or 900,000. So it tanked at the box office, but I don't remember any big push or some movies you kind of remember hearing about, but this is definitely remembered because of Frazetta and Ralph Bashki, but it's it's a classic cult, classic cult movie where people years later love it and say that yeah, it tanked at the box office, but it sold a ton of DVDs probably and Blu-rays, that kind of thing. But
Oh yeah,
it
I know
didn't
many
really
people
take.
who own several editions of this. Literally
Yeah,
several editions of this.
J-Man saying he bought every copy. But when did Conan the Barbarian come out? And this has got to be right around that time, or was that Conan was later?
Conan was a few years before. Now we're
was
talking
before
Conan the Destroyer, right? Because there's Conan the
Destroyer?
Barbarian, and then there's Conan the Destroyer, and though
Yeah,
those came out quite a few years before the Terminator.
I'm just thinking,
Right.
when if this was made, and kind of to cash in on that, if Conan was a big hit. So yeah, it was 82 and Destroyer was 84. So right around that time, and that was everyone was talking about Conan back then. Lamentations of the women. So
Came out
Yes.
August 26th of 83. Thank you, Phantom Outsider. Appreciate that.
and Excalibur was out about that time too. Although that's
This is an interesting
King
one
Arthur,
too here. There was news on plan making sequel comics for the movie for each character. You know what? I know a character I would have actually loved to have seen some stuff from. I'm hoping maybe the panel will be in agreement on that character when we get to him, because that character who shall not be named yet, I would have loved to see where he would have gone in the future. And let's see here. And there's another one here. It was Bryant Barth here. How's it going, Bryant Barth? He said, "What happened to Bakshi?" I could not tell you because I'm not actually as well versed on him. So, like I said, this is a very normie perspective tonight, and that was almost in every sense of the word. Maybe Redshirt knows what's going on with Bakshi.
I don't think he's made a movie that recently. He's into his 80s now, in age. So he's pretty much probably beyond the demands of making a movie. So I'd say he's retired. I'd have to look on IMDb. I'll look on IMDb and see where his last movie was. Give me a second.
All right. No, you're good, man. Well, I'm doing it. What's up, Brian Hepburn and Ord's Board and Inverse Opinion? Nice to see you all
Hey,
here.
guys.
Hello. Oh, dude, look at that castle.
Yeah, that's
Come
awesome.
on. Just
He-Man lived there.
You're right. It makes you wonder, man. Dude, and God, was the dad's name again? Gerald. Man, it all sounds like a Kryptonian name. Like, I'm just like, bro, who's Gerald, man? Who's Gerald? I don't know about Gerald, but tell me about Gerald. But
Yeah.
he's just a stereotypical, no, Dad, you must be at home, wait for the right guy type of guy. He's like, I gotta have action and adventure. And she tries to go on and have action and adventure, and it takes her places between all the Goros and the Beasts, and of course, soon to be Larn, which, by the way, guys, thank you, Sherry. You got Fire and Ice from the lovely Sherry here. Clawby's Avatar, Red Shirts, Dustin's, Marks, Backdoor Gary, and yes, I get to have the Dark Wolf one.
Nick gets to be the cool guy.
I'm very odd, but dude, Mark, you got to be Tigra.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, well,
Ralph
I'm
Bakshi
very
has
skinny, yeah.
directed. Ralph Bakshi has directed a TV special about the 100 greatest cartoons and 2 short pieces since 1997. So 26 years ago. So yeah, he really slowed down. Yeah, he really slowed down. I mean, his peak productive era was the 60s, late 60s, 70s, and early 80s. I think this is probably one of his later full efforts.
Even the Panthers shocked by how much this movie's loaded naked dude. It's not the stabbing that happened that shocked them. It's holy crap! Look at all the naked dudes in this movie. That's the Panda's pretty. He just happened to get stabbed. Oh, hold up, I got stabbed. That's that. We'll brush that off later. But I'm just blown away by all the naked dudes.
Hold
And
that
welcome-
picture, Mark.
Oh yeah.
Do me wait a minute, Mark. Can you go back to that frame?
This one.
Okay. So one of the things,
pause
one
it,
of the
yep.
things, one of the issues I've had is that we'll talk about the backgrounds coming up. A lot of that is Frazetta style, but this is a great character drawing in one cell of this princess, and she's not drawn this well all the time. And
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan
Not
of
at
classic
all.
animation. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of classic animation. I will go through a Warner Brothers cartoon frame by frame and point and laugh at the in-betweeners frames because you're like, yeah, dude, you need to practice your drawing more. This is fantastic. Right there as a single frame, I would buy that as a cell if I could find it.
Wow.
And I would put it on the wall of my office
Red shirt
because
with
that
the
is a
endorsement.
beautiful piece. It's a beautiful piece of animation art right there.
Okay.
And the issue I have, and I'm going to say this now, is that the art and the animation art in this movie, and it doesn't remain consistent. And that to me is weird, given the two guys who produced it. I fully expected that they were going to hold everybody on this production to the same standard. You're gonna paint backgrounds like Frank Frazetta did, and you're gonna draw characters and rotoscope them like Bakshi knows how to do. And it doesn't do that all the time. And there are some great scenes with great characters. This is a great background here, and great characters, beautifully drawn. It's just not consistent. There are times when it's like they got in a hurry, and we'll get to those. We'll see those.
It's inconsistent, but I do understand what's happening in the going-ons. Obviously, they want to kidnap Tigra because obviously they want to get to her dad, obviously, and that's where the dad needs to take action. But before we get into more of that, welcome from the chat, Aurora Uplinks and Justin Miller. And to the panel, one is a debut on Toxic Tuesday, Mr. Daz Wolfen. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How is everybody doing?
We're good, man. Happy to have you here. Welcome. To the show. And then, of course, I see that 70s rock fan. You okay there, dude?
Yes,
I was
good
concerned
evening.
about that, man.
I had a few issues to deal with.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Some domestic, some technical.
Wow.
I'll tell you all. I can't tell you about it on.
All right.
Yes,
No, we're good, man.
Yes.
Greetings,
All
gentlemen.
good. Yes, greetings.
Hello.
And let's talk about Fire and Ice. So obviously, Daz Wolfen, you now approach the fan perspective on here. So
Yeah.
why don't you share us your take on growing up around this era with this movie? Like, did you catch it initially when it came out? What was the hype around this, or even I guess you could say in this case lack thereof? Like, tell me about it, dude.
Well, in '83, I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater. However, I did rent it several times growing up in the from the video store, and it was
Okay.
always like a when I was wanting to do sword and sorcery, that was always one I grabbed along with Conan and Krull and Dragon Slayer and all those. And
Okay.
it's just, well, it's, the backgrounds are all done by the master of fantasy art.
Wow.
And it's, plus, being a young man, stuff like this doesn't hurt.
Oh, I'm sure you
Red
had
Shirt,
a,
you
you
buy
had
that?
a sensational feeling when you saw that scene at the ball. I thought this scene was actually really funny and played out actually really creatively. Because obviously, like, at first I'm like, okay, is she trying to put on a show for them, or is she trying to like get them to be distracted? I think maybe it's a little bit of both, but I wasn't sure at first until I see her going deep in water. I'm like, oh, I get it now. She's trying to get away from them. I get it now. But I personally thought this was a very funny scene. I thought it was.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was one of the better scenes in the movie. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I'm
This
sure
opening hit.
the guys thought it was a better scene for many other reasons more than one. And I'm gonna call those creatures the Goros, by the way, because they're all naked Goros, and you really start to see like the limits of their capabilities here. Like I remember thinking, oh, they're gonna smell her. They're gonna have that Wolverine thing where they could
I
smell
thought
her.
they were. Yeah, it sounded like they were sniffing for a few seconds, and then that didn't pan out.
Nope,
when
it
the
didn't
guy
pan
gets
out.
eaten. The guy gets eaten by the creature. Then he puts his hand in the log, and that creature gets him. But you also notice like all the natural, predators avoid the Tigra somehow. She's, or maybe because she knows it's her land, she knows to avoid the log with this the evil insect that's seedy eel, for lack of a better term, eating this guy right now. That was pretty cool too, that animation there with all the legs and biting into the guy's arm. So that was kind of well done, I thought. But yeah, a lot of this is inconsistent in terms of the quality, but the backgrounds are always gorgeous, and yeah, that pulls away from it a little bit when some of it's not drawn as well. But I thought the opening was pretty well done to this movie. I thought what really dragged it down was that last act a little bit in the middle part of the story. But yeah, there's a lot of cheesecake in this one.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
so, okay.
I gotta say, I had a lot of mental thoughts. Nice ass, nice tits. Watching this, because this is very much
that was just the guys.
lot of cheesecake and a whole lot of TNA. There's something for everybody.
Yep.
Yes.
Boucher, why is it Matt's face right there?
Hey, what's up, Boosh? How you doing?
We can work on that.
I saw Dash Attack and Gonzalo. How are you guys? And no, Soul Assassin, has been a Conan Toxic Tuesday yet, but don't worry, we're gonna come. But Dustin made up a good point, and about something in a project I don't want to mention, but I think it definitely warrants conversation about the inconsistency of her appearance. And I think, when you're doing from real life to animation, do you think that may have played a part in the inconsistency of it, where they should just went straight to animation, and maybe they would have had a easier time, capturing her body motions easier rather than doing off a real life performance?
I think so, because I saw pictures of her while they were filming for the rotoscoping, and she doesn't look like this. She
does not.
She has like a B, and this chick's got 3 C's.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
The actress was skinnier. Yeah, the actress
she was way skinny.
Was definitely skinnier.
Which makes sense, because I was even mentioning this to the wife. We were watching it tonight, and I was like, she's not drawn like an 80s woman. She doesn't have an 80s figure.
They haven't gone full 80s yet at this point.
Was it actually using bloatoscoping, not rotoscoping?
It might have been.
Enhancoscoping.
Enhanced scoping.
Enhancoscoping, yeah.
Hey,
yes, I mean, no one's going to complain.
But this is what you do. But this is what rotoscoping does. You draw these guys, these creatures.
Red shirt.
Oh,
guys with such low foreheads.
We missed a portion of what you said.
Okay, I mean you're drawing a character on top of an actor who's providing the motion. So the dogs, the subhuman type guys. I mean, I know the actors didn't look anything like them. Okay. So they're drawing a character on top of a human actor who's providing the motions, and then the artist has to figure out how to render a character where that person is in that frame. So it doesn't surprise me that they decided to enhance her a little bit, because the skinny actress was probably just slightly cheaper to hire.
No,
Well, she didn't
I'd
eat
say
as
you're
much.
But yeah,
right.
all of everybody in this is being drawn into a character that was designed and isn't necessarily what the actor who was originally filmed for it looked like.
All
What
right.
would all the guys in the audience do if they were one of the animators, right? Would they have
What if the
hands-
guys? What if the guys all look like that? Imagine the guys looking like that in real life with those type of teeth. That would be really hideous. Like, bro, that's hard. That's as hard as to look at as Deadpool. Seriously, without his mask, that is fucking frightening to look at. But Claude Parrish, how's it going, Claude? Had a great comment. It says Bakshi admitted that he looked at 200 naked girls for the Paratika. Frazetta was with him in the auditions. Oh man, that sounds very frisky there. That totally doesn't sound very suspective of many things. I tell you that much. Like, jeez. Oh no. I learned that when they were doing the background paintings, there was over 1,000 made for this movie. 1,000, and they're anywhere. Yeah, they're averaging over 10 a day, even at 1.2. Like, that is absolutely nuts. So this movie had to have been a big, at least for its time in the 80s, a big undertaking because with not only with the animation, but with how much they're putting into the animation, and then with the real life stuff, this project had to have been expensive.
Well, full animation, full animation, whether it's rotoscoped like this or it's pencil drawn freehand, like say Warner Brothers or MGM in the 40s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, required thousands of images, and the animators would flip the pages so that they could, it's flip animation. It's how they would check the smoothness of motion if they were drawing it freehand. Here, they at least had an actor to give them the motion. But yeah, the number of images, and by the way, we'll get to a point where they not only have the characters and a background painting behind them, but they have fog on a film in front of them to make it the scene look blurry until they come forward towards the camera, and then the fog is removed, and you see them clearly. So there were 3 different pictures being photographed at the same time to make that one image on one frame of film.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the amount of work that goes into one of these things is insane. I mean, that's part of the reason Disney bought Pixar, because Pixar could do it with a computer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to mention some of the fights that happen. This is where once again, besides the colors of what happened in Primal, but a lot of the fights, I definitely could see Primal took some influence, man versus beast type of thing. I definitely saw a lot. I saw a lot of that, like, big creature go up against just a common Neanderthal caveman. I'm like, bro, Gendy Tartakovsky definitely he definitely saw this and the brutality of what a guy and a beast can do to each other. He got it from this flick, because there's definitely I do enjoy the action in this. Like, I know inconsistencies and all. I really did enjoy the action from this stuff.
So I got a philosophical question. Why would anybody want to rotoscope, which is based upon live action anyway, when you could just do live action? Is it because it's cheaper? Is it because you want an animated finished product? Because of the look of animation? What's the general philosophy behind rotoscoping?
The general philosophy, as I understand it, 70s, is that while you start off with, our hero here, you don't have to hire a guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s who looks like that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So there's a cost element.
And you get it. It's theoretically more realistic in terms of the motions and the fighting. So the artist doesn't have to create those in between motions. That's what we're talking about before, how fluid it looks.
But then you could just do live action.
Yeah,
if you do live action, you have to get an actor who looks like him and an actor and an actress who looks like her. And with rotoscoping, with the beast men who don't speak. Right? They're the heavies for the Ice Queen, the Ice Prince. You don't have to use the makeup and the prosthetics to make them look like that. You can just have guys run around and then draw them on them. So you can create creatures that are based on live action. So they move like them, but they don't look like them.
Yeah, they could look like anything you want beyond that. Then, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
I want to mention. Okay, I hate how, and this is one of the parts that drove me nuts. Even though obviously it may have been just like a tease or lead on, whatever you want to interpret. I hate how she goes off his way to steal his food, and she says, "I'm not being a thief." I was like, "Bro, you just stole his fucking food. Are you kidding me? And you're not the thief? You went what?" Bro,
I think she was trying to say that, hey, I'm a princess. I'm not a thief. But I think she needed it at that time.
Didn't she throw it back or something too? Didn't she throw
Something
the
like
food?
that, yeah.
Didn't she throw the food back? But yeah, that was I agree, Nick. That was
but
weird.
She tried
She's
to
like,
sneak
this.
it on
well,
him.
Yeah, she's like, you caught me now, but I'm really not a thief. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really not a thief. Actually, Nick, I had a different issue with this.
Okay.
Necron is complaining to his mother that to move the glacier all the way to Fire Keep is a long way. And she says, we might not have to go that far. So she's been kidnapped from Fire Keep and is being taken north. He has escaped from North Village and is headed south. And in the middle of nowhere, they run into each other. Now, there's a coincidence the plot needed to have happen.
And
But that happens in all the movies,
there's
right?
an inconvenience there. The asses need it to happen as well.
Yes.
That is
yeah.
a mad Mardigan.
Asses of fire and ice.
Asses of fire.
Were teabags like
Yep.
that even a thing in the 80s? Like, were women wearing that normally in 83?
Yeah, that's
In
how everyone was
Brazil, they
dressed
were.
in high school.
Yeah.
In '83, right? Yeah.
83 in Brazil, yeah.
No, everyone had big hair. Big hair.
I
That was big
know.
hair, leggings, and jeans, and no one was dressing
Lawrence
like
just
that.
got that look like, I'm setting you up so we can fuck later. That's what he's so we're gonna snuggle now so we can fuck and it'll be great. So he also had some Team America vibe. He wanted to make that sweet love. Hell,
I'm surprised
Oh.
I was surprised that they didn't move that part of the story there and then, right. I was waiting for that to happen. So
It's always best if you can delay that, Mark.
And then, the orc characters never touched her in that kind of way either. You know what I mean?
Anticipation.
And that may have been the PG-ness of it all because I seriously, even though I knew it was PG, I was ready for these Goros to do a not so gangbang.
At least insinuate it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And that's why I was worried if they were going to give the idea, kind of like the whole mental visual of you won't see it, but you know it's going on. Kind of like when there's like a really brutal kill, like a PG-13 movie. And sometimes that's equally as striking because it puts the mental image in your head of what it is versus what you actually see. Because then it's kind of like when a dude gets hit in the nuts. Any dude who's had it happen to them, they know how it feels, they know it sucks, and when they hear about it happening to their dude, they imagine their own nuts getting hurt, and they know that shit sucks. That said every dude freaking ever.
Yeah.
So that was what I got out of it. But I also like how he sticks I thought he was gonna put it in his mouth with that stick, and then when I thought the funniest shit ever was when he stuck in the eye and he went flying, man. he fucking sent him into orbit. I was like, bro.
And then he lands in 3 inches of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not.
Oh, that didn't hurt.
All right, I got a few. What's up, Mecha J and JT Gun Late Night? How you doing? JT had a comment that is this on any stream? It is on Vudu for free if you want to watch it, and also if you somehow want to spend money and rent it, there is Amazon Prime, but it is accessible. Unlike, unfortunately, Revenge of the Nerds, guys. For any of you guys who were not here last week on our It's Absolutely Wild Revenge of the Nerds Toxic Tuesday, Mark was the savior of that show, and we had issues getting to watch that movie on streaming. Oh, hey, Soul Session says Fire and Ice is on YouTube for free. There you go. There's no thank you, Soul. But we had issues getting a hold of this movie on streaming. 20th Century Fox and Disney have buried this movie like no tomorrow. So all I can recommend is buy as much physical media as you can. I mean, I was already doing it anyway, but that movie was a great reminder of why you need to. Straight up. That was
exactly,
like, bro. Anyway,
this was also on Pluto TV, but it was so frustrating to watch that I gave up and watched the file that Mark found and uploaded to.
What was
Google
wrong with
Docs.
Pluto? Was just
because I
just,
couldn't.
Was it the ads?
Yeah, it was the
Oh, the
streaming
ads and
service
stuff.
was terrible for this.
Yeah.
Well, it kept resetting me to 13 minutes
Oh, God.
every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was exciting.
It's exciting.
So yeah, it was exciting. The fast forward button and I became best friends.
No, I bet you did. So, okay. Claude had another great comment here. It said, the idea of this movie is to bring a Frazetta painting to life, missed by a few miles. Frazetta's sketches are better than anything else. Yeah, no, and I do agree with that side. I do like, though, that when I mentioned earlier about a character who I was hoping that we could get comic books of, I was speaking on this guy here, Dark Wolf. This guy, this is what really escalated the movie for me, in my opinion. Like, I really like, because even though you didn't get to know a ton about him, he came in, was absolute badass, and was just like, hey, no, this is how shit needs to go down. And everywhere he goes, he's just making things happen. And he's not even the one who, I don't want to say a full on spoil, let's just say he doesn't get to truly be the hero that he should be at the end of the day. And he should be, because he kind of got more work done than Lauren did.
Yeah.
Well, Dark Wolf, we see Dark Wolf sitting on his horse with his axe in two brief shots as a background, as a character to background. And I'm trying to remember the actual Frazetta painting, but I'm pretty sure he did a painting of Conan the Barbarian sitting on a horse with an axe in his hand. And as soon as I saw the frame of Dark Wolf on his horse on top of that rocky crag, I was like, that is a Frazetta painting.
I think
and
you're
it was only
thinking
there
of,
for like a half. Well,
sorry.
it was only there for like a half a second, so I'm not sure.
I think you're thinking of his Death Dealer. That's
Could be.
series of paintings. He's a character he's done over the years.
Yeah, and that could be.
Yes, this is a good one.
Oh
right.
dear.
So this one is brought to you by Magic Poop from the Legion of Memers. Thank you, Magic Poop. And Red Shirt's right here saying it adds some issue.
That's some issue.
I love how Dustin is Tigra. I do actually like that. I mean, it's fitting, right?
Hey, I got to be Tigra last time.
And this time, no, Mark is moved up to being Lauren. Mark, you got promoted.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. Moving
You're
up in the
getting your
world.
due. You got the girl. I mean, Dustin, or whatever you want to call it. And then 70s and Daz, they get to be our Panthers.
I think we've got the best of the deal. I think.
Yep.
70 or Sex Panther.
Six Panther is my favorite fragrance.
Dark Wolf, man. I give you Dark Wolf. I'm just saying. No big deal.
Oh, that's
no
awesome.
big deal. I'm just saying. Thank you, Magic Poop.
Thank you. Yep.
Greatly appreciate. Oh, let me bring back that screen.
Yep. There
Yeah.
we go. Yep.
Now it's
Go ahead.
way before this scene, but when Lauren is running away, he comes across a wall that has a face in it,
Okay.
and it's actually Dark Wolf's face. So there's something up with
Yes.
that ruin that he's from. That is there's lore there that we don't have yet.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. That's a sculpture of a man's face with a hood over his eyes, just exactly like Dark Wolf's. And I was like, is there supposed to be a connection there? But I don't think they made the connection between the ruin and the guy. But it was pretty obvious that, yeah, that sculpture looked an awful lot like him on the right.
And
Yeah.
where do you think Dark Wolf's? Yeah, we don't know his origin, but where do you think he was from the north at some point, or?
Well, he's something I read. He's the military commander for the Firekeep. But
So he's kinda
where
like
they
Man-at-Arms,
recruited
huh?
him from, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know where he came from, though.
Well, my head canon is he's like a long line of warriors that take that mantle.
Where is it?
Yeah, kind of like a man-at-arms.
Oh, I don't want to
He-Man,
spoil.
right?
I don't want to spoil the ending. I don't want to spoil the ending, but he turns out to be a warrior like no other at the end of this movie.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Was there okay? So these scenes here. Sorry, red shirt. Did it not look like that? That in these scenes, it looked like they were fighting like a glass dome. Because the way the screen looks like, it almost looks like they're fighting in front of like a mirror or something. Did you notice that? It feels like they're fighting like a dome or something, or did you get that feel?
Well, they're fighting in a fog.
I know they're fighting a fog, but do you see what I'm getting at with the dome like feel, or am I the only one who's seeing that? Someone in the chat's got to be seeing what I'm seeing. I'm just saying.
I'm not sure.
It felt like there are parts of it. What's up, Jeffo? It looked like they're fighting like a bubble, like a dome type of thing. Because there's
mean fighting within a dome or fighting
within
a dome?
Within a dome. It looked like they're fighting within the dome, and I'm like, man, some of those shots make it look like they're fighting with the dome. Also, Dark Wolf gets some brutal kills on this. Dude kicks ass and take names, and how could you not want to be that? I'm just saying.
He's Conan, basically, right?
He's Conan.
It's Conan.
And I love this. Is probably one of my favorite kills in the entire movie because it goes through the blade and it cuts through the blade into the guy's head. I saw that. I'm like, damn, Dark Wolf is the shit, man. He's got that like perfect, like cool, like Kurt Russell alpha male badass voice too. You need to do this. I was like, bro, I know I failed at that miserably. All I'm trying to get is that he was a fucking badass.
He is a badass. But that was the scene I was talking about, where basically they had multiple layers on being filmed. So you had that sense that they were in fog, and characters appear out of the fog to attack them, and that was actually really cool. They gave a great 3-dimensional effect to that scene. So
and here's
give them credit for that.
Ooh, show it to us, Mark.
So this is I won't play the video, live, so we don't get zapped. But you can I'll put the link in. But this is the making of Fire and Ice, and there's a ton of copies of this on YouTube. So I guess they lost the original, and I'm not an expert on this, but I think they're saying from what I read only about this is from Bashki's VHS copy. So this is an example of how they're filmed. I'll just go, stop and go, or just show some stills so we don't get zapped, like I said. But they're just showing how they actually film this with actors, and of course, the backgrounds don't matter. It's they'll play like 2 seconds, so we're okay. But yeah, so there's Dark Wolf, and they're filming him, and then they're using that filming to rotoscope. So there is a lot of cost and time and effort involved to setting this up, although you don't have to worry as much about the backgrounds, but they've got these guys in costumes, and they're doing the different scenes, and so there's a lot of time and effort to reproduce this stuff. So yeah, I'll put the link in, but you can find this these videos on YouTube. And here's another, like when the guy gets speared, here's the actor.
Yes. Yes.
So it's not easy to do this stuff.
No, it's not like they were slacking with even with the flaws and issues and all. It wasn't like it was from a lack of trying. They really were putting in some serious work to try to make this happen the best they could.
Oh.
Conway and Thomas and all.
This cost this. I can pretty much guarantee you this cost a lot of money and a lot of time to make. Because the
1.2
technique
million.
Bakshi liked to use was ridiculously expensive.
1.2 million was the budget for this.
So at
And
the
keep in mind
time-
that's 1982, 1983 money.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at least $1 million
Right.
of that was drawing the boobs.
The boob enhancement.
Oh
yeah,
no.
yeah.
70s. Those were free. The animators did those without being compensated,
That's true. Yeah.
just because they were allowed.
It was a
to.
labor of love.
Yes,
This would
exactly.
have been
Someone had
a
to do
bigger
it.
success had it been rated R.
Ooh, that's a good question, Dustin.
That's a very good
That's a
question.
very good question. 'cause- Go ahead, Richard.
I would say without a doubt it would have been, mainly because I don't know who it was. I don't know whether I was on the stream or I was modding it, but the discussion of Conan, the 2 Conan movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger came up. The first movie's rated R. The first movie is rated R. The second movie is rated PG. And the second movie is not considered to be anywhere near as good. Yeah. We gotta get Mad in there somewhere.
Imagine waking up to
first
that.
Movie, yeah, exactly. The first Conan movie is, in my opinion, I agree. The first Conan movie is much better, and part of the reason is, if you've read any of the Conan books, and I have, it needed to be an R-rated movie because there are slave girls, there are servant girls, there are women that are dressed in that little, and when a guy says, "I want her," somebody says, "Right, she's yours for the night. Take her." And then it happens. And an R-rated movie works for that. A PG-rated movie doesn't. So this would have been better off as an R-rated movie. That's something I was actually thinking about as I watched it. This
I
needed
think they
at least
tiptoe around so much.
that bikini needed to slip, if not fall off, at least once.
And why was she trying to cut a chain with a knife? That's what I wanted to know. A metal chain with a
I
knife.
think it's safe to say
God! I got a
killing
note
you
on
too?
that one.
the bikini
That was
was
so stupid.
the bikini was her plot armor, literally and figuratively.
Yeah,
was
it
her
was.
plot armor because of the PG rating. So
Yeah,
I was
it
just
was.
like,
Well, I guess she was going to bed that night, right? So she was in bed, so those were her PJs, right? So her underwear. So that was how they explained it in the story-wise, right? And then she loses her kind of nightgown, as she's getting kidnapped. But yeah, that was, of course, you have to have the character scantily. Everything is scantily clad in this movie, right? So
Except for him.
boy,
except for him, well, that's good. That's okay.
dude. Okay, but look at that color there. Come on, it's
gorgeous, yeah. That's gorgeous, yeah.
shots, man. Even the nicer looking, like I guess you could say prettier looking areas, still look dazzling. Like, and I kind of thought, I was worried when I saw this thing. I was like, oh no, this dude looks like a weird, like retarded Neanderthal. He's gonna try to do some weird diddly stuff and like not know how to do the diddly, but still try to do the diddly anyway. And then he dropped her out to her, and I was actually kind of relieved. I'm like, oh, okay.
He looks like a Scooby Doo monster.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how silly was this character too? How stupid, Tell her we've got the girl. I thought this was some great witch or with some great powers or,
Nice
some
beard,
kind of
70s. Hey, Vince
Looking good,
Womack.
yep.
Good night, dude. Thanks for hanging out, man. Thanks for always supporting.
See you, Vince.
Good night. Yep. But I mean, she just sets herself up for the kill. It's like she tells the character, the dogs of war, whatever you want to call them. I've got the girl. Come over here and kill us and take her away. I mean, it was just made zero sense. This whole scene was ridiculous. I thought. I mean, the character looks great, but I don't know what everyone else thought.
She chose poorly.
Yes.
Yeah, this whole scene, this whole character and the scene just came out of nowhere, and it kind of like, even back then I was like, what?
Yeah,
It's
it
almost
just
like
doesn't.
not necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, except for she gets a little bit of a nap.
Yeah.
She
It's
did
like
need a
kinda like-
rest from a long day of being moved around by a bunch of like Goros and retarded Neanderthals, and the Lauren who just straight up wanted her, even though she stole his food. I'm still pissed about that.
And then she went crazy there for a second. She loses it, and then she gets all rational again. But kind of like Tom Bombadil, the scene everyone was mad when Fellowship of the Ring, where my buddies were watching the movie. The movie there, where's Tom Bombadil? How did they skip that scene? And you kind of can skip it. I mean, of course, I kind of in some ways would have liked to have seen it, but yeah, this scene totally out of place in the movie. And I thought it was just ridiculous. It was an excuse to get a gorgeous redhead into the movie, maybe.
I still don't see the
Basically,
problem.
You know how Darkwolf is so badass that he won't even let Lauren help him. He straight up pushes him off the hill. I was like, God, I love
find the
this
girl.
guy. And Lauren's just like, oh, I guess
He
I
kind of
won't
looks like
help.
Multi He-Man.
He-Man.
All right,
Soy man.
to freeze
looks
that
like
for a
he
second.
looks like a helpless
Mac,
He-Man.
you know,
Ooh.
no, that frame with the frame of the guys. This is well drawn. Back
That's
it
good.
up a couple, Mark.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. The one with Lauren.
Yep, back it up. Yeah, that one. I mean, so you look at the animation there, you look at the character drawing there. It's great. You move one forward, you look at these guys, and it's like that was drawn on somebody's day
Mushy.
off.
Yeah.
By comparison, the eyes are
There's
just
so many.
filled in black. The features are coarse. The characters are sketched. There's not a lot of detail there, and you know I know that's not going to last on screen for long, but the difference between the thing is with distance in this movie, the minute a character gets more than 5 or 6 feet from supposedly the camera, the viewer, the level of drawing detail goes down drastically, and it was frustrating at times.
So the question would be, Red
the
Shirt,
drawing,
was that an artistic decision or a budgetary decision?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. It might have been either, but if it was an artistic decision, I disagree with it. And if it was a budgetary decision, it's a shame that they couldn't get the money to just draw a little more detail
Sorry, go
on a
back,
smaller
Mark.
character and then
Just go
switch.
Go back, Mark. Go back one. I don't know. I just wanted to...
Are you
No,
looking
keep
for
going forward. Sorry,
specific
forget about it. It's
asses?
okay.
Well, I was gonna say
Yeah.
here, the witch
There you go.
sends, for lack of it, she sends him two characters that can't speak to each other to tell them, come here and tell them, I've got the girl. So
So,
this guy can't speak.
Right.
I'm imagining that
Yeah.
Nick was the live model for this. And I don't mean that as an insult, Nick.
Oh no, nothing taken. This is
No.
hilarious.
It's the hair, not the speech.
It's the hair, yeah.
The hair, yeah.
I would have got away with it.
And the rough, unshaven look after a night out gigging and drinking. Yeah.
Yeah. So what does he say? How does he use sign language? That the girl is we've got the girl. Come
You
back
know,
with this
Put
way.
a denim jacket on that guy, and I must have gone to a lot of gigs in the 80s with him.
Oh, Nick after a meetup event.
Saxon's the best.
Well, yeah,
Well,
it's probably
the weird thing
Sorry,
is-
interrupted.
That's
No,
the
you're
witch's
good.
son.
Yes. That
Yes.
is. And that's weird because I don't see the resemblance. I don't.
Maybe she
not-
went up the
no.
tree.
Oh, damn. That's I gotta go back, and I'll probably do the beard for another month or two. And then I'm gonna go back to that. It's been fun doing the beard, but it definitely in probably about a month or two. I'm definitely gonna go back to the Lemmy.
I'm debating what to do with this as well.
Keep it going.
Keep it.
Keep
I'm
it.
thinking of going back to the goatee. You know.
No 70s.
Keep it.
Do it
good,
handlebar
Do it.
stash.
Do it.
Do a straight
Oh,
up
yeah.
like handlebar stash.
I could do that.
You could.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could do that. That's the thing.
I'm
is you
still
could.
thinking the Randy Quaid look is the best one.
Ooh. You could get a handy from Randy with that one.
Randy Quaid.
And we got JT Gunn for $3 says slice of pizza and gives me a slice of pizza. Well, thank you, JT Gunn. I appreciate the $3, and I will make sure that goes towards a slice of pizza. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Yes, that's a subliminal message super chat.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Then pizza to Nick was.
We got you covered
Lordy.
on this show. Yep.
Oh, I know. Oh, oh
Look at
man.
that cheesecake.
Oh yeah.
See, I can see this movie, especially from Mad. Mad had to look, especially like he probably actually, you know what? Mad will probably give this movie 4 stars instead of 5 because the
Too many
one
women.
girl ruined the one.
Yeah.
the
There's
one
3
star.
women in the movie.
When there's 3 women,
yeah.
that's still 3 too many. It's supposed to be all dudes,
Oh,
always
4 if you
being
count
the
this one.
one showing off all the assets, all dude assets at all times.
And why did she
Anything
come
else?
back to life all of a sudden here? I mean, that this didn't make sense. Like, unless they
didn't.
explained her
Us,
that she had powers. No?
Dawes, fill us in.
I think it's because she's a witch. That would be my guess. And she was killed, and then the body burned. And she's just haunting it, and just happened to her bones were disturbed, so that brought her back
For a few seconds, for
30
seconds, yep. But they didn't really
But
explain her powers that well in this. It was too. That scene was too quick. Yeah.
And the difference between the animation of this character and his character are he appears to be drawn in pencil.
Yep. Yeah.
So look at the eyes.
They couldn't get a live skeleton to perform the role.
Couldn't get a live skeleton to paint over. Yeah, that must have been it.
Twiggy must have been busy.
Yeah, must have been. The Crypt Keeper wasn't available at that time. Now that, as a background, is amazing.
That looks like some Yingwei Malmsteen cover. I'm trying to think what album it was, but it looks like a Yingwei Malmsteen cover, and I'm trying to remember which one that was. Someone in the chat can help me if they remember. They might know what I'm talking about. It even looks like something even from Rainbow, even too. No pun intended with the rainbow-looking parts, but it definitely feels like a cover from Rainbow as well. Like,
Maybe
come
a little
on.
bit of Dark Moor too.
Was Richie Blackmore in that band? Well, that's what.
In Rainbow.
I'm joking because it was Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. Like there was he always put it all over the band. Yeah, it was like, and you're like running joke. With my friends is Richie Blackmore in this band. It's like
which it came as a bit of a surprise to Ronnie James Dio when the first album came out.
Right.
I said, "Oh, I didn't know about that. Nobody told me that was going to happen."
Yeah.
Nowadays, that's commonplace for that stuff happening. That's where 2 Venoms now. That was just a thing, kind of. Now it's a reality with bands. It's convoluted, very, very, very convoluted. But anyways, we get to see the ass cheek man, who's really that looks like Godzilla with like I don't know a hairdo. Seriously, go look at that eye shot again.
Let me go back. Oh.
It looks like Godzilla with like spiky if he did like some hairspray. It's okay. I'm gonna spike my hair up today. Beeswax maybe.
I like this image. That's a nice.
It is nice image. That said, in all seriousness, no, it really does actually. Seriously, but it just looks like the back to the right is like the head, and the front to the left of the teeth. And yeah, just all I see is like some Godzilla looking mad shit, man. Looks bad fucking ass. But yeah, no, this is a really cool drawing. This had to have taken a long time to make, and I'm sure that definitely didn't help with the budget either. It was the time, because if think about it, if Rosetta was doing 8 to 10 drawings a day, and he did over 1,000 of them, 1,000 of them, Yeah, these
Yeah.
people had to have been fatigued. They probably wanted nothing to do with this movie for quite some time. Maybe it wasn't until the cult following started happening that they were like, okay, I guess we could talk about it again. Because from what I learned, apparently the animators like who
But-
worked on this, they said Frank Frazetta they say is very daunting to work with. Apparently even
I'm sure he was.
they said that he, like as soon as they just saw him, they're
There-
just
there-
like, oh.
There is a question I wanted to ask Necron here when his mother said, "This is your bride," and he's like, "I don't need a bride. I don't need anything." And my question would have been, "Why are you gay?"
What's puzzling me is that she's in this super, super cold place, and yet there seems to be no apparent effect on that on her appendages.
Yeah, her
I was
lights
talking
aren't
about
on.
that earlier.
That's
The
a whole
lights are not on.
All the dudes are fighting for these dudes are fighting for a leader, and they're willing to all be basically naked to fight for their leader. I'm like, man, I don't know if they're fucking stupid, if they're dedicated to their leader. Maybe a little bit of both. I mean,
And
you
then
decide.
and then she
Holy
flips
Dustin.
her character flips her too. She's like she thinks she's a fighter, and then she just like says, "Oh, I'll marry you," basically now, just for you know, it's a really weird flip in the like she's
It
trying to
is.
get away this whole time, trying to escape, and then I guess she's attracted to him. I don't know. I mean, all of a sudden she's gonna marry the guy. I mean, didn't make sense.
That cover
No,
right
it
there
was
alone.
a sudden change. It didn't really make sense. I thought.
Well,
can
if you
see-
if you look at the line, she's saying friendship. You know, I come
Okay.
in friendship. I extend my hand in friendship, trying to broker peace. But I don't think it's a thing of her wanting to marry him. I think she was just trying to say, hey, there can be peace between us.
I don't know. I think she's in the way she was so happy, and it seemed like she was inferring something more there. Maybe that's me as a as a guy saying, "Oh," and then of course he totally rebuffs her here, like don't waste my time. And then as you see in a later scene, he's much more interested in Lauren.
Yes.
He interests me. So
Yes,
I'm
you
with
interest
Jonah
exactly.
here. I'm with Jonah here. Pheromones, baby. Pheromones. And Darius mentioned a great comment here. This would make a lot of sense. Ingwe does have an album called Fire and Ice. He was definitely a fan of this. Ingwe was definitely a fan for sure. And Justin, so I'm not familiar with this cover, but I could definitely see the Frazzettian influence in this cover.
Dude,
You
it
know
is
who did
totally
this
like
piece?
the most power metal, dude. And it's female fronted, but you wouldn't know that right away.
Really? Oh, I'm going to remember this one and look it up. I want to show it up because to me, color scheme wise, it was in theme with what we're talking about tonight. Oh, Soul Assassin, I have looked at, trust me, when I say I know the death covers, trust me, you're speaking to the guy who knows about the death covers. Those, especially, I think Scream Bloody Gore, that cover definitely looked like it definitely was like really in like a temple type of stuff too. Maybe even the leprosy cover too. I could see that with maybe even individual thought patterns. Those three covers I could see definitely being High on Fire had a great one. That looked like I think it was done by the Meatloaf guy. And I'm like, damn, that looks like something that could have came from like a Conan or something like a Fire and Ice. I'm gonna look for it right now. Snakes for the Divine. But just all the killer art that we've gotten. Okay, I found it, and it's nice. There's Necron, who's a dumb bitch. What's up, your
Yeah,
Muslim uncle? I see you in the
Hey,
chat.
Yeah,
You were
next
right,
time you're
Red Shirt. Seriously, like, how is he such a bitch like that?
I'll squash you like a bug. Yeah.
Like, but right here, High on Fire, Snakes for the Divine. Look at that cover. That cover is some man. Woo! I just want to show that off real quick. Covers that
Chris
are
Mead's
clearly
right about
inspired by the style.
Molly Hatchet covers, as Chris Mead says.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not
He's
sure.
right
Frazetta
about
did a lot
that,
of
yeah.
covers.
That's
Yeah.
good to know. Oh no. If you want to get some covers to show off, dude, show off the Frazzettian influence. I am all in on that shit, dude. That's awesome. I will say that snowpath looks badass. Even though the
Oh, yeah, it's
Neanderthal
beautiful.
Goros
Yeah.
tards, dude, look at that path.
Yeah.
That I can you imagine going sledding down that like shithouse hammered, bro. That'd be a
I could
blast.
ski it, maybe. I wouldn't sled it.
Hold on, can you actually ski red shirt?
I was a very good skier until about 13 years ago when I quit. Yeah, I was a good skier. So yeah, I'd ski that. No problem.
Oh wow, yeah. The Awakening, Dustin, Gates of Silver. That one's got the Frazetta. That is, jeez, it make Andy says loincloths will make it a comeback. Well, yeah, Mad Morgan's been very instrumental in bringing those back. I'm sure Mad is hanging out with his girlfriend right now, wearing nothing but a loincloth with her.
You know, we should have all done this panel in loincloths tonight.
Flirting
Not-
with disaster.
Are you
My favorite-
considered tier
My
of
favorite
Mark-
Molly Hatchet. My favorite Molly
Mark,
Hatchet.
what
album.
makes you think I'm wearing pants?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh,
He is wearing pants. They're just not his own. Yeah, this is Molly Hatchet had a series of these, but this is my favorite Molly Hatchet album, "Flirting with Disaster."
Yeah.
It's got a certain je ne sais
kind of
quoi.
like Thor to it a little bit.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of Thor to it. Yeah, I can. Man, that is one nice.
it's a badass cover though.
Yes, it is. It's
Molly's
very
pretty good with that hatchet.
nice. He's not. Seriously, they all look like they make that sound, but type of sound. They all look like that.
They were not. They're less than stormtroopers in this movie. Those characters, didn't make sense. The other thing in movies too, not just this movie, why the all powerful witch or magician or whatever, sends incompetent minions to do the job. It's like, if you're so powerful, why don't you just go and get it done yourself? And that's not picking on this movie. That's that's a common movie trope or comic book trope too.
Absolutely.
They're very incompetent characters. It's and then she can actually strangle someone, teleport, cast a spell, when she's summoned, and strangle someone at a distance. It's pretty powerful. It's like, why don't you just strangle the king then from a distance? But I guess I shouldn't ask questions like that probably. But the paint and the backdrops on this, as much as I didn't like a lot of the plot, the stills and certain scenes look fantastic, and some of the fights were really good. But the plot was just a big letdown for me in terms of the plot, and there's no real twists and turns in this movie. No big surprises. It's basically paint by the numbers.
Yeah, it's straightforward, conventional, almost stock storyline, almost very stock storyline. I do have fun with how it plays out because it's very, very. It's the straight line point A to point B without any. I won't say no adversity because there's obviously adversity, but it's very convenient. We'll just say that there's definitely the plot armor, but I still had fun with it. And Necron's stupid, but I still
there's no I'm your father moments, or any kind of part of this movie where I'd say, oh, holy crap, I can't believe that just happened.
What would have been an I am your father moment? If Necron said to his mom, I don't want Tigra. I'm gay. And dun dun dun. Oh shit! I hope you'd marry Tigra.
Well, you can bet your bottom dollar that's what it would be if they made it now.
Oh yeah. I know. That would have been his husband right there.
Well, would he still have a widow's peak bangs?
Actually, he wouldn't say he was gay. He'd say, "You're right, mother. I am attracted to this woman because I want to be one." So I could be with her.
No, it would have been Taro and Necron today. Today it would have been Taro and Necron, and Tigra would have been left out. That's how it would have happened today. I want to be wanted. It's my turn.
Big you are.
And of course, that witch would have hooked up with Tigra before she handed her off.
You know it. Yep. Tigra and the witch, bro.
I was waiting for that to happen.
That's a witchcraft in itself. That's for sure. That is a witchcraft in itself. No, hey, and and here's the thing, Chris. I actually do like this. When I messaged you earlier saying that I do like it, I do. And yeah, it is very casual, very convenient, but it don't mean that I don't enjoy any less. It don't not. And I swear on that saying that ain't me trying to save face despite my complaints. I still enjoy it. I'll still entertain, and I still have a lot to love about the animation. So, but then there's some faces I'm like, oh hey, he looks like he's not getting a fight at all. He looks like he's just getting a handy from Randy, and I am getting a fight. And it looks like he's given the handy Necron. He's a handy giver, and he looks like he's receiving it. It's like ah.
So like this
Damn.
painting here looks totally different than the rest
Yep.
of the artwork. It's weird. Like it throws you out
it
as great
does.
as great as
Exactly.
it is, but it's like whoa, that bottom part does not match that top
No,
part at
it's
all.
like it's been
just
pasted on later somehow.
yeah,
Yeah,
and-
it's black and white on the bottom.
yeah. So it's yeah, and someone was saying, yeah, remember the sports bros? They overdressed for the occasion, yeah. But that was interesting seeing, showing you how powerful Necron is too, which is cool. But yeah, just if we drop that soul for a sec there, yeah. So this like, yeah, it's like a totally different painting. It just doesn't match in. So that was kind of a weird. Then you segue to this. So
Chris in the chat said something. He's like, I've always loved this movie. Guess I'm plot casual. I wonder if you saw this when you were like 5, 6, 7 years old versus me just seeing it for the first time in my 40s. I imagine I probably would have probably hold a special place in my heart if I saw it in 85.
Oh yeah. I think if I saw this when I was 12 or 13, I would still love this to this day. I think and that's part of the PG rating, because it was accessible to kids under 17 because of the rating.
I never had
And
that problem growing up, though.
Oh, that's
My mom didn't care.
You obviously
did you go
had
to
different
Catholic
parents
school?
than I did. Yeah. No, my father's German.
I had my own
But yeah,
VCR,
well, somebody once said that, I don't know who it was, but somebody said that, the Star Wars prequels are perfect if you were 9 years old when you saw them the first time. And they're great.
I've heard that before.
And that's probably true.
like the
9-year-old boys probably loved the prequels.
Yeah, it was written.
Everybody
for that level.
older kind of went, I got a few issues with this.
I don't know. I missed a lot of them, Richard, because I was asleep through most of those. So.
My 5-year-old thought
Well,
Jar
Yeah,
Jar was funny.
70s.
That comes with age,
70s
70s.
right here from Magic Poop.
That's right. That's exactly what I'm aiming for.
Thanks, Magic Poop.
You got it. That's it.
Oh, that's great.
Did I clip the line where he said this one interests me? Let's see, where is it?
Well, I
Let's see
bet he
if it
does
was-
interest you.
I thought I'd clipped that one. Like this one
See?
interests me.
If this came out today, they would have already had an orgy. They would have called over all the Goros, and all the Goros and Lord and Necron would have definitely went at each other in more ways than one. They would have had, and they had the big swords too, so they could have done many backdoor openings with everything that they had with their hands. They were capable men.
Necron says, you interest me, and decides to have a sword fight with him. No innuendo there.
Yeah, let's cross the streams here.
Let's go.
Right.
Oh, so
Soul
okay.
Assassin, I did like the prequels too. I did like the Star Wars prequels, especially when you compare them to what came out later. But we won't go down that rabbit hole right now.
I think if
but,
they
yeah.
trimmed 20 minutes out of each of them, they would have been much better.
My
And the third
issue with
movie was what-
Attack of the Clones, I don't even hate it. My issue is I feel like the middle of it dragged it down by
Oh, God,
it's
yes, I
around
agree.
20, 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
And I was just like, wow, this talking goes on and on and on and on. And it sucks because the third act I think was really well done. Emily,
Yeah.
the third and final act, I thought was like that third act. If that was its own movie, I would have loved that because I could still watch that sequence to this day from a technical. Now, a whole movie wise, I actually do genuinely enjoy Revenge of the Sith. I saw that opening day in theaters and I enjoyed it then. I enjoyed it now. My only issue with it now is you still have to watch it after you've seen the original trilogy because it
Yes.
defeats the purpose of the reveal from Empire. Not to go down the
Yes, I
Star
agree.
Wars wagon, but you still had to watch the original trilogy first, always because of that. Just for
And
that
Seth
reveal,
Green,
it's
I
worth
think
it.
Seth Green made a clip, I think, or a cut the prequels, and he cut them down to like 50 minutes. You
Yeah.
know, all the best scenes, and he showed it once, I guess, rented the theater. He showed it to his friends. Yeah, but that's we could talk about that for hours. But yeah, this like certain scenes are really good. Like that, the animation there was fantastic on this scene and really, really well done. I thought. Of course, then this scene shows up next. I should have put Mad there. I didn't have time. I was out tonight, but and then you got the backgrounds are great, but artistically this movie is fantastic. But I think I guess if I like you were saying, if I'd seen this as a younger kid, maybe in the 80s, I would appreciate it more. But I just thought the story didn't do it for me, and it's you know, not saying it's a bad film, but I can see why, and it probably got you know, just overshadowed in the you know, in the theaters back at that time, because you know, this year Jedi was out this year. You know, it was the #1 movie of the year. Let's see, I got a list of the movies from '83, but there's
Yeah, Return of the Jedi did come on '83.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I thought my brother was born this year. God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jaws
that's
3D came
funny.
out. Crawl was out this year. Lone Wolf McQuaid.
Jaws 3D.
Didn't we-
I
we-
forgot that was a thing.
Did we do
bad
Lone Wolf
was
McQuaid
that?
on it was horrible. I was in the theater for that one. Was
Oh,
Lone
I'm
Wolf
sorry.
McQuaid? Did we do that on Toxic Tuesday?
We
I
did.
thought
We
did. Yeah, we
did.
did. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Mom was out with Batman. Michael
Michael
Keaton.
Keaton, yeah.
Michael
National
Keaton.
Lampoon's Vacation was out that year. Never Say Never Again.
Oh,
Octopussy was out.
Yes.
Outsiders.
Octopussy.
Octopussy.
Porky's
Yeah.
Because
2.
we'd have to do it as Rod Jumbo, Octopussy.
Risky Business.
Octopussy.
Risky Business was out this year, which was the breakout for Mr. Cruz, right?
That was
Yes.
a weird movie. It was
Yeah.
not what I was expecting when I watched
Oh,
it.
I like Risky Business. I enjoy that movie. Even with the Fruit of the Loom underwear and all. That was
That's like
that
just
was,
iconic now.
Oh, I know. That's like probably Mad Market probably has a poster of that scene in his room. Like he
I'm
probably
sure
has
he
Tom
does.
Cruise in his underwear, laying on his bed while he's looking at his bed. No, Mad Mardigan is the Wolverine meme where he's laying in his bed looking at the framed photo. And it's a photo of Tom Cruise in his underwear dancing in the bed.
Nick, I
There's
gotta
probably
point
footage
out
of Matt doing that.
this
very
guy.
scene.
I gotta point
Go
out
ahead.
in that scene before when he's running down the mountain,
Yeah.
he looks like he's running on air. You can't tell the surface that he's running on, and that. I mean that was part of the problem with Frazetta's background painting.
Yeah. It doesn't match up, right? Yeah.
And there was a
Tough to
thing
do,
in
I
the
can
thing.
imagine.
There was not a lot of shadows. There was no shadowing of people.
Right.
Oh, you're right. There wasn't no
Yeah.
shadowing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
It's hard to tell. He doesn't appear. Look at these guys. They look like they could be a foot off the ground. I mean,
Yeah,
at least
there's
leave
no
footprints in the
shadows, yeah.
snow. You know?
Yeah. There's a scene early on where it's this beautiful foreground painting with the snake, and he's running by it. The snake's not moving.
Yeah, the snake's just still.
The snake's
Yeah,
right.
just on a plane, man. Let the snake
and
be
let's
the
watch
snake.
how quickly this blizzard disappears.
yeah, and this is a gorgeous, like as a painting, that's a gorgeous painting.
Yeah. But literally from one frame to the next, all this snow just goes away.
Because the snow is expensive. They had to draw each snowflake. That's why.
They had to keep drawing all those white
Not
lines.
Monday again.
Dude, it's
Yeah,
open
that's
season on Larn. Seriously,
Yeah.
Larn made open season when he was laying there with his ass hanging out. He says, "Guard Goros, you know what to do." But then he says, like, "Psych, you ain't gonna fuck me in the ass today." But Dark Wolf, though, come on, man. We gotta at least say Dark Wolf is a highlight. I mean, do we
Oh, it's
at
great.
least
Dark
agree
Wolf
that
Oh,
is
he's-
awesome.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I have a D&D barbarian built on Dark Wolf.
Oh, I can see why. And once again,
Yeah.
to bring it back from earlier, I would have loved to have seen a character arc with this, with a comic book, or even more animation, or even live action, just to see where his story goes. Because now he gives you they use him perfectly. They give you the right amount to see how cool he is, and then they leave a mystique around him that makes you think, oh man, I want to know more about this character. So they show you, but they don't tell you anything. Oh, imagine that technique. Show, don't tell. They showed you what he could do, and then we're like, oh, come on, show us more, show us more. They did he was very well set up for this story. Even though
Yes.
Lauren got more screen time, I feel like Dark Wolf was the big takeaway character from this, because
Well,
he's go ahead.
we haven't gotten there yet, Nick. I mean, the Dark Wolf's moment is coming.
It's gonna come. Trust me,
Yeah.
I know when it comes. Like it
Yeah,
will
yeah.
come.
Phrasing.
Phrasing.
Well, even Dark Wolf knows. He knows it before he lets it out that it's gonna happen. When he does it, he knows that everyone's gonna like be there to watch it happen. Look, he's already let them mess all over the glaciers on the mountains. He's already left his mark. So he's just like, all right, Necron is my final target. And you take a shot and you hit the target. So sometimes you get what you give. Why
Yeah,
do the
'cause
men
Lauren's
not have
definitely-
nipples?
Because they got used on the Batman movie when George Clooney was Batman. He stole their nipples, yeah.
Oh,
But Lauren's not an
used them-
overwhelming hero in this one. You got to say.
They use them all up on the female bras.
Oh damn.
I mean, you should see the nipple budget for this movie. My God.
Imagine
Second
the
only to the
loincloth.
loincloth budget.
Yeah, I was gonna say they were so tight on money for clothes that they just they took a bunch of shirts, cut them all up, snip, 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 and they're like, okay, here's a little cloth for you, just enough to cover your junk, just enough for you, enough for you, enough for you. Okay, let's cut up a second shirt. This will
Nipples
cover
are
up 5
incredibly
dudes.
hard to draw, Nick. I mean, come on. It's hard to draw nipples, just like hands. Hard to draw.
Hard to draw.
There are whole there are whole Instagram pages for the people who tattoo them now.
What?
To make them look realistic for people who had things removed,
Jeez. Right. Okay. Yeah.
What?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Offers cancer survivors and yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
Whoa.
Like photorealistic nipples. They are not made of rubber nipples.
Yes, all this.
It's like they got all the loincloths they needed from one woolly mammoth.
Yeah, look at this panel.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, Dustin, that's actually very accurate. They did. They just got one, and then
Well, it's very
they covered all
economical
the-
of them. They had a pattern and they used every square inch of that mammoth.
Yeah.
Well, but mammoths don't grow on trees, for crying out loud.
No, trees can't.
Now, how do you know? Have you ever been alive when mammoths were alive? How do you know they don't grow
Prove
on
it.
trees?
I'll have
Prove
you
it.
know I was.
Clobber Time.
I am that old,
They
70s.
used to paint their toenails red and hide in cherry trees. Mammoths. That's how they survived so long.
And look at talking of
Camouflage.
talking about the artwork. Look at. I mean, I could have drawn this.
Realistic nipples.
I could have drawn
Yeah.
these I mean, the background, no, okay, but I mean, this is pretty bad. These, the depiction here, of the dragon. I mean, that's a
I'll
little
still
better.
look at it over any modern piece that we've seen of remember that one that
Where did
came
that
out?
go?
I think it was 2 years ago, where it was like Captain Marvel looked like she was drawn like a first grader or by a first grader. It was that one. Alta Dick for me was a really bad piece.
Oh, the one with the big, the
yeah.
one with the big nose.
yes.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that.
Dude.
Oh, that
It
was
was-
terrible.
You look at these art pieces, you're like, this can't be serious. Like that actually passed at the editing room, and it did. That's the thing. It straight up did. It happened, and I'm just like, man, how the fuck does someone look at it?
thing
Like,
is-
yeah, this because those things had to go through a lot of eyes, and that got seen. No one said, hey, this should be worked on.
Yeah. Nobody said, no. Go back and do it again.
All right, I'm digging for that piece right now.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a
this
pretty
whole-
bad.
The thing with the like you said, Mark, with the flying lizards or whatever they are, it's one thing.
That was the name of a band, by
You
the
know,
way. In the 80s,
Flying
the
Lizards
Flying
was a band.
Lizards.
I'm sure it was a band.
It was a band.
I'm
yeah.
sure it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, traditionally cartoons are drawn by a director and then animators and then in-betweeners. And the in-betweeners have to do 4 or 5 or 6, maybe 10 or 15 frames in between animator frames. But at 25 frames per second, you don't see the in-betweener frames unless you pause the cartoon. To have it look like that for a full second or two, that's 25 to 50 frames that were drawn like I drew it or Mark drew it. And
Yeah,
he's right. That's not because that character there doesn't look like those flying animals. They didn't put any detail in them. They're outlines with gray in them. So yeah, the animation in this varies a lot.
All right, so look at these pieces here. Remember this. Put a mental image in your head what this for the most part looked like, despite the flaws. Remember these images. Now look at where we have come.
I drew that.
Dude.
If that's like an elementary school kid, that's dope.
That's what I mean. I can't
Yeah, if it was
draw
an
it.
elementary school kid, yeah, that's the thing. That got passed up by an adult for Marvel Comics for a teenage written book. Comic
But
book.
look at the nose there. Look at the nose. Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Look how bad that is. Yeah.
that's all.
That's
I
like
just want to show you how far
No,
the
I
art
get
is.
you, but I could also pull up a picture of a 1940s Warner Brothers cartoon, and
Okay.
the characters are drawn razor sharp. They may be exaggerated because they're about to leave the scene in a hell of a hurry, but
Okay.
they're beautifully drawn. The backgrounds are painted by hand. The backgrounds here are obviously painted by hand, and they're Frazetta. They look a lot like Frazetta's art. It's just that if you're going to do it every frame of the film, and they don't here. That's my gripe. It's great in one spot, and then 10 seconds later, it's not great.
Because whoever was in charge didn't demand it.
Now,
Right.
Red Shirt, how do you feel about the story? Because I know Mark mentioned earlier with the story. Do you now are you as as contrarian about the story as Mark is, or you see a little differently? It was the animation your bigger issue over the story.
I agree with Mark. I agree with Mark on the story. I think the story is weak.
Okay.
And I at the risk of preempting my summary of this, I don't see the characters going anywhere. They're the same at the end as they were at the beginning. We don't know. We really have no idea where Darkwolf comes from. We don't really have an origin story for anybody in this.
Well, that's where
we're just presented with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just presented with them, and then they go through this story as they are. There's no change. So I just think I think the writing was a bit lazy.
Okay. Lauren and Tigra could have used it. I'm actually fine with Darkwolf knocking it because I think he was the character that you sampled just to show, like, hey, look how awesome this character is. Kind of like the whole leave them wanting more. And I think
Like
that
Wolverine.
character was used effectively, like almost like a Wolverine to
Like
leave
Wolverine
you like,
used
oh
to be.
man, yeah, I want to know more about this character. And then you do that extra story, dude. Look at that. All right,
Yeah,
go
that's a
back
good
to
panel.
that.
That's
a good
dope.
panel. Yeah.
See,
That might
looks good.
be my favorite shot of this shit, dude.
That's beautiful.
That is okay, they just went full death metal with that one. That looks like something that could have come from like, I don't know, Death maybe. That looks like a
Immortal
Death
or-
cover. Yeah, or I could see Immortal. Oh man, that is a badass. Woo.
You could take that from like just like the skull piece and like the red sky background, and that would be like the back of your leg.
Dude, yes. I see I did not know it. Danny Trejo was gonna play Dark Wolf, but Robert Rodriguez got to hold on. I didn't reread this. Danny Trejo was gonna play Dark Wolf.
I think he means if Robert Rodriguez.
If Robert Rodriguez.
if.
Oh, okay. I'm like, man, am I really like really messing this up? Okay, now I understand. But seriously, let's just take an extra second to admire when this shit shines. Oh, I just realized too, because like the way if you look at a quick glance, it looks like just like almost like a headpiece, but if you actually look, there's a hand on top.
The hand,
It's
yeah.
it's
a
claws.
hand. Yeah,
It's
dude.
claws.
Or
It's a
singular
monster's
claw.
hand.
Yeah.
Well, there's claws on the right side too.
Fucking
It's a
awesome.
monster's hand growing out
It's
of
a
the
hand,
skull's
yeah, it's
head.
really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a great album cover.
I'd like that
It
to be
would
my
be.
basement. If I could make my basement look like that, it would be great.
I
I
can
would
see
live
you,
in
I
there.
can see you putting that. I can see you putting that on the entire wall of your basement as a mural.
Oh, that would, yeah. I
You
would
live in Canada.
obviously
It
be.
looks like that outside.
I'd be instantly divorced, of course, but
So you're saying that has a zero wife acceptance factor? The
yeah,
WAF is
there's
zero.
a certain sum of you got to figure out is where's the null point, or is it worth it? Isn't it worth it?
Yeah, because I was, I love action figures. So what I was doing, some of my buddies would come over and we'd try to sneak action figures in all the china closets and stick them all over the house. And after a while, that joke didn't last. She's like, next time that one of those ends of my china cabinet,
right.
it's going in the garbage.
But yeah, I'd
You
just
know.
love to do this overnight some night. Paint that on the wall in the basement, and then see what happens in the morning.
Is that Handy Randy's hand?
That's what I mean. Yuck
Or
Nominal
is it
makes
too
a good
big?
point. The handies have
It's way too
risen
big.
with a vengeance.
It's the god of the Handy Randys.
The
Maybe it's a
god of the
scale model.
handy. No, the god of the handy in general. Like that is the hand to give the mightiest handy to ever give all handies. Like that hand will unleash wads that even Randy Marsh couldn't have dreamed of. And Randy Marsh can unleash
In
a
the
giant
curve
wad.
of the hand would be a perfect place for a band to set up and play.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dio would have been great, God rest
Yeah,
his soul.
something right in that curve,
Yes.
right there.
When I saw him in the garden and the dragon, oh, that was so cool. But then everyone started trashing the garden and throwing the seat and cushions. They're like, it's like, guys, stop it, or they're gonna make me can't stop the show. So he only did like 2 encores, and it's like, that's it, you MFers ruined it. We got to stop now. People were trashing the place. Yeah. But he had a great stage. Oh my God, Dio was awesome.
Oh,
With,
I'm sure, man.
all his end with that dragon. Oh, so
I wish
good.
I could have seen Dio.
Yeah, he was great.
Yep. Sadly, I never
Yeah,
got
me
to see
too.
Ronnie James Dio. I remember when I almost had the chance, and you want to talk about the one that got away? That was the one. That was the one for
Dio,
me.
yeah.
I'm still like that. I actually do feel like I don't regret many things in my life, but that was one of them because there was opportunity where it was close, and I
You had a
can't even
chance,
remember
maybe.
what prevented me from not going. I wish I'd probably have to think about it long and hard, but something stopped me, and I was just like, bro, it's not meant to be. I came to grips with reality. And Chris Beat, I see your comment about the documentary. I'm gonna watch it, and I will watch it. I'll even watch it. Oh, dude! Once
Holy
again,
Diver Tour. So yeah, so that just reminds me of this movie in some ways. Just my buddy Rob gave me that album vinyl.
Super deluxe.
dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
That on a piece of wax, just that cover on. I would
Yeah.
love to own
There you
that cover. Wow.
Yeah. And my good friend who passed away a few years ago gave me that. It was special to
Wow.
have that. Yeah. So because I picked up a drum set for him in the rain, and he was a drummer.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was started to rain. He's like, I will pay for all traffic tickets, or speeding tickets, just hit the gas so my drums don't get ruined. Yeah. So and then we went to see that concert together. But oh god, that was a great. And I'm just remember it's a Frazetta influence there. You know, it's you're not going to say. I'm not sure if that is Frazetta or I don't know who did
I
that.
don't think it is, but I can
just
see the influence. Yes.
Yeah, just the. Oh, that's a video, so I want to play that. But yeah, that's just that influence. There we go. So very cool, cool
nice.
stuff. Yeah. Yep.
Bro.
You've got the real video down below as well.
Oh, we got a real video.
Holy dive.
Now,
great album. Yeah.
70s. What would you have done with the mightiest handy if you're up on that place with that big hand with in that hand? So like he could technically give you a handy.
I just don't know what I mean, there's so many things you could do in there. But as I say, the best thing to do would play some exceptionally loud music. Set up your amps and just
like Metalocalypse and Death Clock when they played that coffee jingle.
That's exactly that would work so well up there. But, it's some nice furniture. You could make it more like a mosaic,
But, imagine the Beatles for Let It Be. We don't want to go on the roof. We'd like a big skeleton with a frozen hand.
Oh god! The thing is, they could have done that. They could have.
Imagine
What a wasted opportunity!
Ice mountain.
What a wasted opportunity!
With a hand like this.
The original idea was to record on as high up in Everest as they could get, and then they decided they just want to get stoned and they couldn't be arsed going anywhere, so we'll just go on the roof.
All right, we're gonna look at a badass cover of some great Frazetta, just to once again admire this work, because now we're a half Fire and Ice Show, a half Frazetta tribute, dude. Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force. Look at that shit.
That's great. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah.
What year was that? Do you know what year that one was? Or doesn't say. I'm just wondering.
The year.
I'm just wondering if it's 80s. I'm wondering if it's around the time of this. This movie.
Let me find out. It was it's 2000.
So it was not that much after. Okay.
Yeah, late in the game and still kicking ass. And there's our boy. Oh, I remember. Jack's Brutal Legend. That should have been a thing that went go ongoing as Brutal Legend. But yeah, Dark Wolf. They could have done like a mini series, a spinoff. I know I'm using a thing that I feel like is overused in Hollywood nowadays, but this actually felt like he could benefit from a spinoff. This felt like the right type of character to give him his own story, not rely on Lauren to have a fight to go for. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or a prequel that delves into his origins.
Oh, yes, and actually a prequel that actually could have benefited from being a prequel. Imagine that. I mean, that's like what was that term that they say in Princess Bride? Inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
That just saying. You could go ahead and finish this screen up because I know it's approaching its near
the
finale.
Climax is near.
Yeah.
Here's
the delayed climax that Mark was talking about earlier.
Oh,
here we go,
dude. This guy, this Necron guy, man, you were right, Richard. He is a bitch. Like, I don't want to say he looks like one. Like, at parts he does, at parts he kind of looks cool, but right there he looks like a bitch. But there's just times I'm like, man, this Necron guy with a name like that, he should be badass. But at least we get to see Dark Wolf kick his ass. Because I remember thinking at first, like, Larm was going to, find, a sneaky way to win. But it ended up being, ultimately Dark Wolf. Because, I almost jumped the gun. But you would think that with what's going on with the brutal stabbings, because, dude, man, Dark Wolf, he hands it to Necron pretty damn good here. Like,
But he's got some special powers though. So I mean, guys that know this movie better, what's the of course we're watching this, we're spoiling this for everyone if you haven't watched it, but how they don't really explain that or they leave it open. But he's then. I mean, Necron is, think of it, he's super powerful. He can, control people. He can move glaciers. Someone attacks him, he's got like a Jedi Force, powers. He can keep the the blades from hitting him. And then Stark just gives him the business here. And it's not like it's a surprise attack or anything. So he's got some powers, right? What do you guys think?
Oh, Necron definitely has magical powers, and Dark Wolf is the only person who can resist them. I mean, that he gets that whole glow around him.
I do like the skull frozen into the ice behind him there in that shot. I like that. There's a skull just in the background in the ice in the earlier shots. Yeah, right, and just in the
where the
just
green
in the
bar,
left. Yeah, you see it a couple of times. That's a neat touch.
Yeah.
God, he looks like a bitch though, right there.
Edgar Winter was
It's like he was begging to get stabbed right there.
Edgar Winter. That's
like,
funny.
please stab me since I'm a bitch. Please stab me since I'm a bitch.
But he's not a really, a villain where you're like, oh god, I can't, this guy I'm worried. He's all powerful, but there's no charisma to him really. He's
like a spoiled brat.
Yeah.
Yes. Spot on,
Like
Dustin.
Like the Emperor, you can't stand the guy's guts, but he's got a charisma to him that you just right away he grabs the screen and he's got that presence where But
it's okay because they all get to now. Oh, hey, look at that. They're gonna finally get this guy.
This is
and
cool.
Then, look at that! I love the orange.
I was like, okay, if you could do this the whole time, why are you waiting until now?
That's what I thought. Why did they wait until now? I'm like, why did this matter now?
As we were saying earlier, delayed gratification is the best.
Or maybe it destroyed everything. If you can be proud, maybe it destroyed their kingdom too. Maybe, I don't know.
Did you talk about edging? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yes. No, edgy. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it does destroy the jungle.
I don't know what the other one means. I actually don't believe in delayed gratification. I mean, I've been practicing. I got it down to 30 seconds. And there's no way I'm taking longer than that. It's a waste of effort.
Well, 70s.
Like, that's a cool panel there.
Get to know you a little bit better every week.
There's only is a little bit to know.
You get to know them a little better, handies and all.
No, you see, that's a very sexual image.
That was going to say, that doesn't remind me of anything.
Everything.
Talk about fire and ice.
Talk about fire and ice. See what you did there, 70s.
Situation at my house.
And the Goros keep coming, man. Man, those
They're
things.
expendable, yeah.
Run!
Just take the boobs and leave her behind.
That's gotta be awkward. Like, that's really awkward. Like, how do you handle it? Like, I'm gonna take this, and I don't know how. Yeah, doink, and you'll be fine. I don't know how, but you'll be fine. I don't know. I really don't. Like, imagine that shit. Imagine that. I won't. But I'll imagine those colors. I'll imagine those colors, and a pterodactyl.
That's poor old Terry Dactyl.
You just call him Terry.
Oh, look, they're ruining this.
They're ruining me.
It's reduced to a handy Randy sized. Right.
Where is Handy?
That poor animal hasn't moved since it crash landed, but he gets on it and pulls the reins, and it's like, oh, all right, let's go.
Flat, like it was deflated.
Yeah, exactly.
A deflated Handy?
A deflated Handy.
I just said that.
A deflated Terry.
Terry and his friend Handy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Handy.
They've destroyed the coolest place in the whole film.
Like, why didn't somebody try to offer her some kind of like cloak or something that I'd have been wondering where the hell they got it from.
Because nobody else mammoth they got everything else from.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you which bit of the mammoth this was.
Apparently, they haven't invented pants in this realm.
No, they haven't.
Nope.
No, they haven't.
Dude, in Mad's world, there is
They've
no
got lace.
pants.
or whatever, her satin underwear or whatever she's wearing.
But they do have string bikinis, just no
Yeah,
pants.
they have like satin bikinis because that's what that looks like to me.
That somehow conveniently stays completely attached to
Okay,
all
now-
of the trials.
There it
and
is.
There's a
tribulations.
Molly Hatchet
Yeah.
album.
Nick Weiser,
right?
there it is. That is based on a Frazetta painting.
Death Dealer.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, that is.
what the
Yeah,
guys
that
keep in the
definitely is-
chat.
That right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a that's a shot
That is
right there.
that is classic.
It's almost like they should just like made like a comic book, but with the panels are moving instead of actual traditional animation. Just
Yeah.
because if they're gonna make it all inconsistent, I feel like if they did like a comic book style, it probably made it look a bit more consistent.
Yep.
I get why they did what they did, but I think if they went full comic book format, because there are parts of that look like a splash page or something in the comic, they should just went all the way with it and say, "Screw you, real life people, we're going full comic book, bro."
Yeah.
And it would help, but I guess they were trying to be innovative at the time because, to be fair, a lot of people at the time were trying to, up each other, which is fine. And that's a good problem to have when people are getting competitive because they want their thing to be the best thing. And obviously, it doesn't always pan out. Everyone wins, but I'll give them credit for trying. A lot of credit for trying, actually, a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it is was Bakshi, who had his own ideas of how the movie should be laid out and the action that should take place and the characters should be drawn. But I think this, just as a shot in the distance, is 100% Frazetta.
Hey, Globby, how's it going?
Clobbering
Hey, a couple
time.
times.
Says ladies. Well, in this show, there's like one, and it's not even real. There's just the one in the movie. That's it. This is a gathering of the dudes. Even Lauren knows it.
In case you missed that, Clobber times.
Yeah, this is a gathering of the dudes, and even she knows. She's like, "Yep, it's a gathering of the dudes. Just accept it. There's no other." And see,
They just
this
woke
is
off together. Yep.
and that's a part I am just like, bro, Lauren got away like that. Lauren got away. Like, do I need to sue a bitch? Where's Darkwolf's happy ending? It doesn't need to be that happy ending, but a happy ending of
Oh, it
some
doesn't wanna-
sort.
That's why Mad would like this movie. He doesn't waste time with the ladies,
True.
right?
That's true. Matt would have given this extra points because
Right.
Darkwolf doesn't get the girl. He just gets to have the privilege of killing off everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
That last shot, we didn't catch it in the
I missed
in
it.
the
or-
slides. Yeah, there's one where the clouds pass and you see the castle right
Okay.
there,
Okay.
and the lake down below it. It looks nice.
Show us the shot if you can. If it's
Let me
if
see if
not
I
too
can-
much.
I
If
can-
not,
I'll pull it up. Yep, I'll pull it up. Well, I'll
Alright,
pull up
chat.
the video. Yep.
I bet the chat's gonna disagree with us with the scores because it seems like the chat really, really, really likes this. But I agree. I appreciate you all, chat, for being civil by it. And it was about time we had a divided opinion on a movie. That's good. We need to have challenging conversations showing that we all know echo chamber here. So, chat, give out your scores. You know the rules. And for those who don't, we rate this movie on a toxicity level and then a greatness level. I am going to give this points in toxicity, though, because the amount of dudes in those loincloths is staggering. And they got the Goros who are like that as well. Like, dude, it is just it's a dude fest. There's like what, 3 girls the entire movie?
I think 4, maybe 5 tops.
maybe 4, maybe 5 top. Yeah. It's fucking it's barbaric. I love the fight. So the fights definitely get a toxic point for being absolutely badass. And dude, come on, Dark Wolf, man. Dark Wolf.
Yep.
Come on, what a great character. But Yeah, obviously the animation style does definitely hurt it quite a bit at times. It does. And yeah, the story is conventional. It is very, very, very convenient. But I
There
still
it
had a
is.
good time with it. I
Yeah,
still had
there's
fun
the.
with it. And I will actually watch this again someday down the line because I do want to see where its replayability holds up. I truly mean that. Oh yeah, see we got some really generous scores from the chat on this one. So I'm looking forward to this. But I had a blast. I'm flaws and all, warts and all. I'm gonna go with a 7.8 on this one for the greatness score. For the toxicity, I'm gonna go like a straight A. Straight A for toxicity. Das Wolfen, why don't you give out your scores?
I'll give it a 7.5 for greatness and a 9 for toxicity.
Ooh. No, what makes it toxic to you?
Well, just especially the scene when you first meet the princess
Okay.
and she's writhing, and just the shots are definitely fan service.
Very
Okay.
erotic.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
She
same
was
thing
just
with her
there. She
doing.
was just there with her tutor, her
Yeah,
female tutor, trying to teach her math or whatever. She was like, you know, come on.
oh, come on, indeed it was. Bro, come on. All right. Anything else you want to add to it, Wolfen, or no?
it's just this is I've got a special place in my heart for this because, like I said, I was like 13 or 14 when I saw it,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I was a D&D player, so any of the movies like that I got to see, just added to it for me. So, but yeah, I will admit it hasn't aged as well as my memory of it has.
You were
Nostalgia
definitely in
is
the
a
sweet
thing.
spot for. You were definitely in the sweet spot for this one.
Yep.
All right. Awesome. Dustin.
Oh, well, I had to watch it twice because the first time I watched it, I didn't quite. I was like, I'm missing something with the plot. Then I watched it again and realized, no, I'm not. There isn't a plot. So it's a majestic movie. There's some scenes that's gorgeous. There's some scenes where like, did a third grader draw this? And then there's like, it's a confused movie. It doesn't. I mean, to me, it doesn't seem like it doesn't know if it wants to be like an adult adventure, or is this for like preteens, or is this for all ages? Because PG to me means you can take your 7-year-old to see this. I don't think 7-year-olds would give a shit. They wouldn't. I mean, they wouldn't get the overt sexual nature of like the princess in the beginning, or maybe wondering why all these dudes were in thongs. I don't know, long-winded, I guess, but too many loincloths. I think Mad. I think Mad would love this movie. It's probably. I mean, it doesn't beat Top Gun, but
Oh man, Top Gun was homoeroticism like personified.
I think Toxicity. I don't know. I'm conflicted because I don't think it's that toxic of a movie.
Okay.
I mean, I think I'd say 4,
Really? Okay.
and then I think overall greatness. I think for some of the majesticness of it, I think it. There's so much potential they didn't reach.
Oh, of course. I can
This
agree on
movie
that.
could have been a 10 out of 10, but I think it's a 5. And if there was
Ooh.
titties in it, it would have been an 11.
Or if it had volleyball games, as Soul Assassin says.
Well, I mean, if there were some volleyball games or something, I mean, we all want our castles made of ice, but we're never going to get them unless you live in Canada.
And we're never gonna do ice castles on Toxic Tuesday, the movie, right, Nick? Yeah.
Well,
that's the movie about figure skating with Robbie
Oh,
Benson.
and now is this the first PG movie we've done on Toxic Tuesday?
70s is
I
Jake
think we could
said.
do the cutting edge one day, perhaps, but not ice castle.
Not ice castles, right? Yeah.
Is this the first
Oh,
PG movie that's been done on Toxic Tuesday?
No, we've done quite a
No, I
few.
don't think so. Yeah.
Quite a few, actually.
Oh,
I
okay.
I think this would have been PG-13 had the PG-13 rating been around when this came out.
Probably, yeah.
Because the PG-13 rating didn't come out until 84, right?
Was it 84?
I thought it was
It
I
was
87.
don't
after
remember.
it was after Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom, yeah, Temple of Doom's caused the whole PG uproar. So whenever
Was it?
Temple of Doom was out, but yeah, right around that time though. So yeah,
Yeah, 84.
yeah,
Okay.
Doom was 84. Yep, that makes sense. Yep.
Will that be it, Sir Dustin?
That's it from me.
All right, 70s. Hit it
Well-
and don't quit it.
Well, you know, believe it or not, I think I share this in common with somebody else on the panel. Today was the first time I had ever seen this movie. I'd never seen it before. Don't recall it being released in the cinema in the UK back in the day. And I'd never had that much interest in it because I'm not really a big fantasy guy and an animated fantasy guy, more of a science fiction guy. So it probably, I've seen it in passing in video stores in the past. I was like, nah. Probably because I thought it was incorrectly was possibly aimed at more of a children's audience, but clearly with some of the animation it isn't. So, but yeah, titties. So I would certainly, taking the ice castle hand alone, that's worth 10 out of 10. Just that bit. Just cut that bit out and I'll give that 10 out of 10. I don't think it's that toxic, really, though. I mean, there's a couple of well-drawn forms, but I'd only say 5 out of 10 for toxicity. I really can't see it being any more toxic than that. I found it a little bit predictable when I was watching it.
Okay.
Gotta be honest. A little bit predictable, a little bit variable in quality, as Redshirt talked about. I mean, I think Dustin said a lot of the things I would have said too, but enjoyable enough that I would probably want to watch it again, though, and see if I could appreciate it more and what did I miss. But strictly speaking, and by Tigra, I mean, she's so annoying. She keeps getting captured. Can this woman not refrain from being captured just once? Like just try not to be captured. Can you just try not?
Zero effort given.
Zero effort.
Well, she did use her knife to try to cut through the metal chain, so
That's true.
That's probably
which
why.
Probably
She
says a
did
lot.
dodge the cephalopod in the lake.
And don't we
That's
all?
true.
But I think in terms of greatness, I'm only able to probably give it a 5.5 out of 10. I'm sorry.
No, all
Not
good,
my
man.
cup of tea. But I would watch it again.
I'm at the same boat. I actually do want to watch it again. All right, Mark.
All right. Yeah, I'd disappointed in this, and I'm the target audience because, excuse me, like I said, I would have been about 12 or 13, but unfortunately, like I didn't catch this like Dallas Wolfen because I probably would have really loved it. Not just saying this is putting the movie down in that way, but probably being a D&D player back then. I don't know how I missed this movie actually, but it's a paint by numbers movie over gorgeous Frazetta art that's really way too predictable, like we just talked about, and it's just that part let me down. But like these scenes are gorgeous, and there were no good twists and turns, and it's not a bad movie. It's not bad. It's great to look at, and there's some great fight scenes, and there's some fun things. But if you're gonna, it's not directly like heavy metal, but it didn't have that spark that heavy metal had, maybe because of the soundtrack, or there's just something about it. Like heavy metal, we watched over and over and over as kids, and maybe this one was tough to get, or I'd never, obviously never seen it. But it's for me, it's a miss. So, which is kind of disappointing. As great as Frazetta is, and I can understand why people love this movie, and as a kid too, I can see where hey, this great artwork, and it brings back those memories and D&D, and but it's just story wise, it doesn't do it for me. So I'd give it a 6. D&D is the devil. Yeah, that's when that wasn't. So we had to cover up all our D&D books at Catholic school because everyone started complaining, and the nuns didn't want to see deities and demigods at Catholic school, so that was a problem.
Yeah, I had to buy multiple. I had to buy multiple sets in high school and grade school because my mom kept throwing them out.
Oh, ouch! Yeah. So yeah, so and toxicity is yeah, the creatures are evil, and that but it's just your standard evil. So there's no really overtly toxic. Necron's trying to freeze the earth, I guess. So what would that do to the planet? We won't get into that because that's in trouble on YouTube. I won't say what I was going to say, but yeah, it's really not a standout villain. A lot of these stories you need a great villain is what really makes a lot of great comics, great movies. Like a Darth Vader type villain, or the Emperor, just to compare it. So I'd give this like a 4 in toxicity too. So, but yeah, if you're a fan of this, I can appreciate why you like it, but. For me, it was a miss. I think it's the first time I haven't really loved one of the Toxic Tuesday movies. So, but I hope you guys will have me back.
And it's certainly not the best Bakshi movie by any stretch.
No.
So
Yeah,
it does suffer in comparison to the.
In my opinion, that's Wizards, but
yeah,
that's
all right. We'll read off some scores, and then we're gonna bring it to Red Shirt. So I'm gonna hammer through this. Soul Assassin, 10 out of 10. Toxicity, 10 out of 10. Greatest, 5 out of 5. Loincloths. Magic Poop, 8 out of 10. Greatness, 8.5. Toxicity. Saw it for the first time today, and despite the flaws, I thought it was awesome. Look at that. Keely Chow, Toxicity, and overall 10-10. Nabino, 9.5. Toxicity. Points deducted for lack of wolf happy ending. 8 greatness, over 100 loincloths using the entire math. You guys are funny to look at these comments. Mr. Angel, toxicity 0, overall 6 out of 10. Heavy metal, so much better story. Mecha J, toxicity 9, overall 8. E Clay, Tomasin, 6.9 overall, 11 toxicity. Chris Mead, I've known it had some issues, but I still rate it 8 out of 8. If you stand by it, that's all that matters, my friend. Jonah Hex, 7 out of 8 toxicity, 7-10 overall, mostly because certain stills like Molly Hatchet. Stephen M. Kal-El, greatness 8, toxicity 10. Woo! And Boosh with a 7 out of 10. It has some problems, but it is nostalgic. 6 soiled loincloths out of 10 for toxicity. I don't think it was intentionally toxic like a lot of movies. Yeah, I do agree with that sentiment. So, all right, Red Shirt, you get to close off with the thoughts, and then we're going to plug in our channels.
All right. I got to start off with I'm a fan. I'm one of the 13 people who liked Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings. There were very few of us back then. It was rotoscoped. It was only half the story, and he never got the money and the backing to make the second half of the film, which is a shame. I really think it was a shame. The people who didn't know Tolkien said they couldn't follow the film, and the people who
he got axed for
so
he had axed.
I was buffering. The people who did know Lord of the Rings said that he left too much out. So he was damned if he did and damned if he didn't. But he was trying to make the entire story in 2 movies, which I think was biting off more than he could chew. But it was really well done with rotoscoping. And I'm a huge Frazetta fan. I'm a huge Conan fan. I've read most of the Conan books. The only reason I can't say I've read all of the Conan books is that I haven't found all of them yet. And I have the Steelbook of Heavy Metal and Heavy Metal 2000 in 4K. So I love this genre. And I came into this movie with, like I said at the beginning, very high expectations. And I'm afraid it didn't quite live up to them. It had its moments. There are some brilliant scenes, some brilliant animations, some gorgeous backgrounds. We're looking at one right now that's just freaking amazing. But it's so uneven. It varies so much, and I don't know whether that was the direction, whether that was budget, whether that was we didn't have time and we had to just go with what we had. I don't know what it was. But this movie had moments of brilliance and moments that were like, ugh, you could have done better. So I'm going to have to give it a 6 in greatness. Not my favorite movie. And for toxicity, 1, the bikini never came off. 2, the bad guys captured her so many damn times and never even fondled her. I think the most they did was chain her up, which was kind of cool, but didn't really do much for me. So I'm going to give it a 7 on toxicity because this was definitely aimed at a younger audience with a PG rating, and they wanted a big audience for it. If you were that age and you were 13 or 14 or 15 when this movie came out, or when you first saw it, I'm sure you were like, "Whoa, dude!" And you were probably in love with it. From my point of view, seeing it for the first time at my age, which is about 15 years younger than Dirt, this movie just doesn't quite cut it. But that said, it should have been better because of the people who made it. Bakshi and Frazetta had the potential to make a movie that would make Conan the Barbarian look like a romper room, and they didn't. So that's why I'm not giving it very high scores.
Okay. Hey, no, I'm glad you came on and explain your score and kept it real, man. That's what we're here to do, man. That's why we want to say, okay, well, let's hear the approach. And it's nice to see because it's clear there's a lot of fans in the chat who really enjoys it, and that's great that you guys enjoy it. And I'm glad that you all kept it real, and that we can all be cool about just not completely agree about it. It's all good, man. And it seems like there is a common thread between fans and people who are just kind of in the middle of it, or even people who just don't like it. We all agree that Dark Wolf is the shit, the absolute fucking shit. And I'd say that's a great positive note to leave it on. That Dark Wolf is the shit and was a perfect character to tease us with. And they should have slid us in with some more in the future, whether it was a comic book or his own movie, prequel, whatever, something. It's never too late. Just saying, it's never too late. So,
well, that's why Rodriguez was live. They have an option to do a live action version of this, but that was 2014. So who knows if it'll ever
He
happen?
wanted to do it like Sin City, from what I understand.
Yeah.
It's something to think about. I would need to think about that before I could think about if that would work. But I'd have to really said that. Well, that's a really, I don't know what to make of that. I don't.
Well, a lot of the stuff that they remake ends up being worse. So I don't know if Clobber Times is still here, but he steal his line, but he can't stand remakes. So do something original or do a take off of it or continue the Dark Wolf story, right? Because Dark Wolf, we all agree, is the really cool character in this movie. Give us you could have a continuation with Dark Wolf story and give us like a cool kind of Conan-esque movie. But you got to have some more a better story though. That's what I think this movie was missing, as gorgeous as it was, and it had those inconsistencies which didn't really took away from it a little bit, but more concerning was for me the story. So that was what and of course it didn't have that heavy metal R rating, which maybe that's why we kept going back to that movie when we were in high school. But that was one. But as you said, look at this background. Look how gorgeous this one still is, and we did get a lot of that.
Kind of looks like Myst a little bit, like that old game from Windows or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
The old adventure game. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then it also did give us this. So
it did.
It did. Yes, you'll need all the bourbon for that.
Yep.
Yes. A whole lot of bourbon for that, Darth Viewer. A lot. Flux capacitor. No. Wait, there was some positives that we could take away from this despite all our complaints. So with that, as Android likes to say, that is our wrap on this very unique edition of Toxic Tuesday with Ice and Fire. So next week we're gonna be doing a different movie. You guys will know that announcement tomorrow. Make sure I post on Gilded and Twitter and on YouTube community. It's a very secret. I gotta make sure. I have a very specific thing going on that I can't say. So, but you will all know tomorrow for sure. So, and for the few new faces I saw in here, thank you for hanging out with us for 2.5 hours. Hopefully, you liked what you saw and you come back for more in the future. And remember, February 21st is the 75th anniversary edition with Wayne's World. So we're going to be doing this every week up until Valentine's Day week, where that's a skip week, and then come back for the episode 75. But trust me when I say the build up to 75, we got some movies. We got some movies, and I promise that. So thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for being awesome. Shout out to JT too for the super chat. Magic Poop and lovely Sherry. Thank you for the memes. Absolutely appreciate that. You guys are awesome. For the chat, big, very interactive too. But
Great chat.
love seeing the great chat, very interactive, and love seeing you guys still being very excited about this, even with all the opinions on here. That's awesome to see. We're glad that we still got to cover this for you. So. See, we do this for the people. We do it for you guys. So that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So, yes, that's my Gilded. Join my Gilded if you haven't yet. Please. It's fun and it's huge over there. It is massive. So, we're going to plug our channels. We're going to say goodbye. So, we'll start off with 70s.
Well, thank you and good evening. Yeah, I do have a channel, I believe. That 70s Rock Fan. And that 70s Rock Fan Radio, which had a rather good radio show a few days ago on that, which was more metal oriented than other things, that one. But, it was a good one. Pre-Scorpions show. So we had that great show on the Scorpions yesterday. If anybody wants to go back and watch that, that was a lot of fun. And the next live show on my own channel will be the Bourbon and Boarding on Saturday night, 10 p.m. Mountain Time with my co-creator and Mr. Brahma Bool. It'll be on his Rumble and my YouTube. It's building up to be quite a fun little show, that one. Let's have a few drinks, talk a bit of hockey, have the occasional guest on that supports really crappy teams that we hate, and I think Mark's been on. You've been on the show, haven't you, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. You support the Islanders, don't you?
The Rangers.
Just kidding.
Rangers. No.
Just kidding.
The Rangers. Yeah.
So that'll
That's
be
the
happening.
Bruins, as we were saying, right? Yeah.
Well, indeed. So next Monday there will be another It's Only Talk and Roll. Subject yet to be determined. We are trying to get a second Canon movie special going with Razorfist, Tom Connors, and Austin Trulock that wrote the Canon movie guides, are all interested in doing it. So we just have to fix a date. So, but yeah, and I'll be popping up in other places, I'm sure. But cheers, Nick.
Get rid of me. He's saying get rid of me.
I mean, I can look at myself all day, you know. I'm happy to look at myself.
For some reason, I scrambled with the button, so don't.
There's no mirrors in this house.
All right, Daz.
Well, I have my own channel. It's at Real Das Wolfen. I'm working on my second part of the Showa era Godzilla movies. I'm also on Pop Culture Minefield 6 days a week. The morning shows, TGIF, and Saturday Morning Fun Time, and I produce the wrestling show on Sunday. You can find me on That 70s Show on Only Talk and Roll. I'm a panelist there, and I'm also on Joe's Atmosphere on State of the Atmosphere on Wednesday nights. And I might pop up here and there too.
Nice. No, hey, Daz, thanks for joining us, man. You definitely can come back if you want. Just shoot me a message and be glad to have you back down the line. Until then, sir, have a great evening. And as always, we'll cross paths again soon. Dustin.
I've got Keto Simple. Haven't been very active this first part of the new year. Been under the weather. Toddler keeping me sick. But a lot of cool stuff coming. Trying to get stuff worked out. Getting some time to film with the lady. So not a lot going on with the channel right now, but it's in the works. So yeah, Keto Simple. If you're looking to do keto or recipes or look at products and stuff that you see in the stores, chances are we've probably reviewed it. So come on over and check it out.
All right. Dustin, thanks for taking part of this. It's been good. And the future is going to be great. Until then, have a good weekend. Have a good week. And as always, we will do this again soon. All right, Red Shirt. I know you don't really got a channel, but you do appear on places that got the word cock in it.
I don't have a channel, but I inflict myself on a whole lot of other channels. Mostly as a ranch. You can find me sometimes on, well, you can find me here most Tuesday nights on Toxic Tuesday. I'm a regular on the MFR Cocktail Lounge on Foulball Productions on Fridays, starting at 8 p.m. Central. And every once in a while, that 70s rock fan is crazy enough to invite me on his show on Mondays usually to talk about a movie. So who knows? You'll find me. And if you say hello, I promise do my level best to say hello back. Take care, everybody. Be seeing you.
Thanks for being here, Red Shirt. And I appreciate you coming on here regardless of, the whole contrarian opinion. So I appreciate you keeping it real, man. That's what we need here. Have a good week. Have a good night.
Thank you as always for the invitation, Nick.
Always. You are an extension of the show, extenders and all.
It could have been that contrarian. You didn't knock him out of the show once.
That's true.
Well, I'm not mad. Right? I'm not mad.
Yeah. So. Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, another awesome Toxic Tuesday. Yeah, it was great. The chat was great too. A lot of us maybe were, I could tell a lot of you guys maybe obviously liked the movie more than we did, but it was a good, good discussion. Yeah, that's what I like to see, people talking about why they did or didn't like something instead of, calling each other names or blocking each other like Dan Slott, who blocked me, which thanks, Dan Slott. I never said anything that.
That's a badge of honor, mate.
I know it's a badge of honor,
but
pride. All the FF stuff I bought. Come on, really? You're gonna block me? So I'm glad I didn't see him at Comic-Con that year. Because he blocked me.
Yeah, but are you sure his name's Slot or is it Slut? It's one or the other. I can't quite pronounce it properly.
We'll just ignore him for now. But that's what always gets me is when you knock your customers. The customer's always right when you're in business. So, but anyway. As you can see from my background, I kind of like toys and comics. I've got a Sunday night show, Sunday Night Geekery. Nick stopped by this week, and we talk about it was awesome fun. Yeah, we talk about whatever happens during the week in geek and movies, and always end them on food. So thank you for clobbering times for mentioning I should show food photos from cooking over the holidays. So that extended the show, which was all good, and we made everyone really hungry by the end of the show. And I do a lot of videos on my toys. Like here's a cool little come on, Spidey. He's an old wind-up Spider-Man. He's old, but anyway, I did a quick video on that, and actually it had over 1,000 views, and then it went down to 17 views. So I don't know what happened on that one.
There was a lot of fun. Was it from yesterday?
Was it yesterday? Was that yesterday?
Oh, you're not the only one who that happened to, because I know Doug Tenaple had issues. I know Jeremy with his D-Day Cobra channel had issues. See, a lot of people. Also, Comics had issues with the views between 8 and 10 on Yellow Park Cars. It seems like between noon and 10 on Central Time yesterday, there was a lot of weirdness going on.
Yeah, we're big enough that YouTube made a statement on the page or whatever.
Okay,
yeah, because at one point I had like 60 likes and 5 views. I was like, well, at least people like the video. So, but yeah, that's so yeah, check out my channel. I'm on Thursday night with the Clubhouse with Raquel and Klobby. And a lot of times during the week, I'll stream with Mike, and he just pop up on channels channels when I can. So yeah, just love being here. And if you like toys and comics and stuff, check out my channel. And always appreciate anyone that stops by. And when I tell my kids I hit 450 subs, they're like, Dad, you have 450 people that sub to your channel. What are they, crazy? You know, your kids tease you like, what's all this junk in your room? But yeah, so appreciate it, and it's great hanging out with you guys. I always enjoy being here on Tuesday night. It's a lot of fun, and always look forward to it. So thanks for making it another fun Tuesday night, guys.
And thank you for adding so much to it, Mark, between making sure that we view the movie and adding the updated production, sir. I appreciate it. You have a great night, a great weekend, great week. We'll always talk soon. And guys, chat, once again, thank you for being here, Eric K. And Darius Munchausen. I see you guys plug in the channels along with Mark. So thank you guys for plugging the links. Once again, announcement will come tomorrow for Toxic Tuesday. Trust me, there's reasons. Trust me. And we're going to come. I promise. We're going to be here next week. And in a few weeks, episode 75 with Wayne's World. Friday night, Comic Shop Talk. We're talking the Infinity Gauntlet issue number 2. And I will have a few videos out in the next week. One this weekend and one the following week. So they're going to come. Nice. And of course, you can find me on Midnight's Edge After Dark and on Young at Park Cars and Thursday Night Throwdown with Comics Division. So, yeah, that's my stuff. Come find me on Gilded. Find me on Twitter. And to new faces, once again, thank you for coming here and supporting the show. Hopefully, like we saw, we hope to see you come back. And for all the ones who come back always, you are the real heroes. Do not come. Actually, no. Come a lot. Like, seriously. I want you to come. And then when you do come, I want you to do a certain thing when you do come, okay? I want you to